Hello, fellow yickers. How are y'all doing today? My name is Notepad Addon, and I usually write games for fun, but today we're going to be going over one game. Yes, we're going to be going over a single game. And that game is, yeah, I don't quite know how to explain it outside of calling it the YIIK of tabletop role-playing games. That's the best way to describe it. And I had that emotional revelation when I was walking home today from getting my God-given coffee. That Tidebreaker is YIIK. What do I mean by that? Now, Tidebreaker is one of those interesting games. Very fascinating games to talk about. And this came out a little while ago, of course. But no one's really been talking about it. Or mentioning it, or bringing it up in any remote capacity. But but why are we going over it today? I did not even know this game really existed. I did know our dear Argentinian Wuso had actually gone over it. He had talked to it a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I need to find out more about it. My bones are aching. I need to learn. So I The reason all of this really kickstarted was a few days ago. Nick Butler here. This is the main developer. We'll talk about Butler. And I say that to, like, it came to me last year, but bias aside, it's criminal y'all haven't covered Tidebreaker. We weren't a Diana Jones finalist for no reason. Yo, TTRPG, I need a huge favor from y'all. Please boost Tidebreaker. Seriously, you've got the game at all. Tell someone about it. What every game I want to check out. Tweet has 0 mentions of us. We have one review. Shout out to Mildra the Monk. Yeah, so Mildra actually did this. Mildra is what I would like to call, if I'm a glass half empty, Mildra is a glass half full. Mildra is also an odd duck of a human being. I like him. I want to be on his show. Mildra, if you do watch this, let me on your show. It will be a great and lovely time, and I will only call you silly every now and again. Promise. But we're not here about that. We're here about, that's what really kicked me off. I'm like, you know what? I even left a comment being like, you know what? I'm looking for something this weekend. Give it to me, and I will. And I got nothing back from him. Not even a like. So, I consulted my sources, and I got a hold of it. But yes, this is Nick Butler. This is the writer of Tidebreaker. But what is Tidebreaker? Let's really kind of kick it off. Okay, where can I learn about Tidebreaker? Right here. This is their website. We will rise up and ignite again. Home of the Tidebreaker RPG system by Nick Butler. Cinematic role-playing with style. Impossible to fucking read. But we're not going to comment on that. This was actually a Kickstarter. You go all the way back here. Right here. Tidebreaker Cinematic Tabletop. Tidebreaker Cinematic Tabletop Role-Playing RPG System. Cool. This came out. This was about... When was this? This was a while ago at this point. Let's look at the updates. Let's go all the way down. Let's get an exact date. Exactly June 22nd, 2021. So this launched kind of in the heart of COVID, effectively, about 2 years ago at this point. And it came out last year. And if you were to look at this, if you were just to say, here it is. Hello, everybody. Hello, every pony. Tidebreaker. Nothing really sticks out as being, like, weird or anything like that. Well, cinematic tabletop RPG focused on collaborative world building and pick-up-and-play tactical fights. Alright, easy enough to understand. It made a good deal of money as well, as you kind of see here. It only required $25,000. It got 45 from 1,112 people. Now, we'll kind of look at some of the, it's kind of like, hey, you get some things like here, preview work has been doing out, like early access PDF, but you really need to actually do $25 to get the actual PDF. All right, understandable. Beacon of hope. You get some more. You get the thank you section. You get more things. You get a hardcover for $250, mind you. And then you get the $40 Harbinger, which I don't know why he decided to up the price of being in the thank you section with the hardcover. I don't know why. He did bump up the price by $5. And 8 people donated $600. Yes, you get a custom character, and you get to add in a bunch of things for yourself, but you get a bunch more things. So yeah, if you donate $600, which 8 people did, you end up getting that. So it's like, okay, pretty standard Kickstarter stuff, nothing too exciting. Then we'll be covering the theory that Nick Butler is actually. Will you be covering the theory that Nick Butler is actually Sean Fallon? We'll talk about that. Drinking sugar-free cola while chewing a Winter Fresh is a weird one. Yeah, and then we kind of see this, like, oh, monster stuck. So we got monsters, we've got fighting. And they talk a lot about, cinematic combat is not your style unless you choose to spin yourself a web of losing all hope, filling out your doom. And he very is proud of this hope and doom meta currency. You'll use hope to resolve situations, and it's GM gets doom, players get hope. Now, the big thing is it has strategic gameplay options, and a stunt system, no less. And you might get a showstopper if you stunt really hard. Man, I love stunts. They're the best. But that also might trigger igniting things. Okay, alright. Action movie heroism. One thing to note about this game is that it is a generic system. So I'm gonna do my little talk on generic systems here. I usually gotta do this. Oh god, my back. A generic system at its core comes in 3 varieties. You have true generic systems, which are literally things like GURPS. They are for anything. Anything you really want them to be. I know I refer to that as toolboxes. Pretty much a toolbox RPG is things like GURPS. It can do whatever you want, however you want. You just got to assemble all the tools. True generics are things that appeal to a certain genre, effectively. This game can run any Western game of your choice. This game can run any superhero system of your choice. That's all it is. And then you get shit like this, which is a little bit stranger to talk about because it's kind of not a generic system, but is a generic system. It's a system designed to be everything at once. I like to call these games confused, but hey, that's half the fun. Now, do we bring settingless systems? Yeah, but there is kind of a setting to it. That's kind of the strange thing. There is and isn't a setting. So, generally speaking, you talk about it's a D6 game at its very core. You've got to keep up the momentum. Use this resource to power up your abilities or shift your opponents. Dozens of options for ability combinations. Grit your teeth and engage in some heroism to rise up. Our attrition system. Interactables. It's a zone-based combat system, but also not. Because the entire idea of this game is that you're trying to build this setting up and you're trying to protect it. And you're trying to do things, and there's also this entire attitude system behind it. And when I was going through this, I was like, oh no. Now, I'm going to talk about this now a little bit. Now, you see this, now where we get a bit more tactical and reward planning. When we said you're limited only by your imagine, we meant that, fam. Every single thing in this book is written like that, by the way. Very, casual, if that makes sense. Fam, bruh, all of that. That annoys the shit out of me. So, I'll mention it like twice, but bear with me. Action movie style, I always have a trick up their sleeve, hence the name, comma, so why shouldn't you? Now, that's just another way we keep our promise and make you feel like a badass. They say the word again, make you feel like a badass. You gotta be a badass, gotta be badass. I'm like, oh no. You also like, okay, Mixam, they didn't print through these guys. That's one thing to kind of note. They didn't really go through this guy. Now, we got stretch goals. A lot of stretch goals, weirdly enough. We've got Ewan Clooney. We've got a guy named, Meg Baker. Yes, Vincent Baker's wife. Monkey Paws Games. Fucking World Anvil's Janet Forbes is going to be on here. Gabe Hicks is involved with this game. I'm getting a phone call already. Great timing. Alright, hello, I'm back. But generally speaking, we've kind of got the... We've kind of got the indie coalition of people in this one. That's why I called this YIIK. The YIIK of indie RPGs. YIIK, because YIIK had a lot of indie people surrounding it. A shit ton of indie people surrounding it, in fact. A metric fuck ton of them. But the second things started going south, nobody talked about it. Not a one. And people shilled Tidebreaker for a little while, but then it stopped being shilled. People stopped talking about it. It was no longer cool. But we never got the 50,000 tier, of course not, and by a PC Gamer, we never got any of we didn't get more art or Panzerlion stuff. But this is the main guy. Welcome, say hello to Nick, everybody. Nick is very passionate about this. He's a black game designer from Middletown, Connecticut. And one of the things is, while not cooling up the Kickers game mechanics out of your other favorite indie darlings, done Chris Bessett's hashtag D36 campaign. Hashtag D36. What's this? It's accessibility built into it. I've never heard of any of this stuff before. Never. Have any of you? Have you heard of this? Apparently he's worked on it. We also got things such as Smunchy Game. We will hear more about Smunchy Games, by the way. We'll hear a lot more about them. But he also worked on Shadow Tantrum by Smunchy. Let me Smunchy Games. Hello, it's Smunchy. But yeah, apparently he's worked on that by Smunchy. We'll talk about Smunchy in a bit, though, because this is a little bit weird with him. And this is his tweeter. Yes, hello, welcome to Tweeter, everybody. I'm going to use my very own Twitbucks to make sure that you can see it. Yeah, I've run Tidebreaker here, one-shot of a few cons, and recently got start a home game. Just recently started a home game. And then he talks about, it's one of those things, like, he talks a lot about, like, fighting games and stuff. He's just like, yeah, visit because the game achieved mechanically. We got a big bad. Cool, look how cool it is. Only when he started talking about it, people start talking about it again. And that's such a bizarre thing to me. Horror movies really are just the fantasy of watching white men suffer for their own hubris that we rarely get to see in real life. He's also one of those people. Yes, everybody, I love it. Well, the thing is, I like how Tidebreaker has never been mentioned in TG1s, even in passing. Because Tidebreaker, because I haven't quite got to it, but I'll mention it now, I guess. You cannot buy Tidebreaker anywhere else. You have to go to their website. You must go to the Tidebreaker RPG website and pay $30 for it. Mostly because you might be wondering, okay, where do I buy it on here? Where do I click? You don't. You have to either go all the way down here, or you have to go to more, then click on shop. That'll bring it to you. But weird thing to note, you've got logo tees, you got drawstring bags, you got a $23 trucker cap, and a $30 PDF. A $30 fucking PDF and $17 shirts. Why is that so... Something smells so... Swords fall. I gotta put my finger on it. But this is the kind of shit that, like, happened right off the bat. Because, like, this is the only way to buy the game. You might be saying, is it on Drive-Thru RPG? It's gotta be on Drive-Thru RPG, obviously. Let's look at Tidebreaker, alright? It's gotta be right on here. Wow, look everyone, it's not, because it's not on TTRPG. It is not on itch.io. You know, like, let's even go to itch.io. I mean, it's the latest, cool, hottest, you know, fucking, you know, indie project, so it's gotta be, wow, look everyone, fucking nothing, because he has put it nowhere. It is exclusively on his website. And it's like, oh, you, like, yeah, he talks a lot about this, and you get things like, being a black person, you really gotta watch shows that are about non-black pox. With rose-colored glasses on, cause it'll be anti-black so casually, like, lol, damn, that's how you feel, aight. That is just... I find it fascinating, because this guy is exactly who you think he is. And I try not to be negative about things. You quote retweeted 50 times, and I'll put out my next game for free. He didn't. He didn't get that. Because what other game? He's not really worked on anything else, which is a weird thing. It is the exact kind of person you think. It's literally fighting games and shilling fucking tabletop and shilling local indie darlings. And it's like, cool. This is neat. I try to be, you know, something cool and exciting. Try to be a little bit more like, all right, you know what? There's got to be something else going on here. No, he is exactly who you think he is. And that's just something you got to learn about. You just got to deal with. Now, there's something very odd about this. Now, this is his hashtag, Tidebreaker RPG. Wowie zowie. Look at his, it's super cool. You know, proud to get my physical copy back in last year. Wow, cool everyone. I love looking at things. Wow, everybody. It's criminal y'all haven't covered this. Now, I'm gonna go back down. We're gonna go down, down, down in the ring of fire, the ring of fire. Mostly because I just want to give you an idea that people keep just shilling it. It's not exciting shilling, it's just shilling. And apparently he qualified for a Diana Jones award, but no one gives a shit about Diana Jones awards. No one really gives a shit about anything. Like, if we kind of keep going down here, just like, oh, what are you up to? Like, let's do, this is a schedule tweet. Cool Tidebreaker. Talk about Tidebreaker. Now, pretty much it. We're now waiting for Monkey's Paw Game to clean up their contribution, and it's finally done. Check this out. You got to go on there. You got to shilling. And it's never anyone else. It's Nick talking about it. Nick Butler talking about it. Or someone, you know, or an aquatic Panzer Lion. We already talked about Panzer Lion, though. He was going to be on there if it reached 50K. He was going to get paid. Tidebreaker. Like, okay. And maybe wonder, why am I going back in time so much? Because there's a very odd little note somewhere around here. A very odd, strange little note. Y'all should back Tidebreaker. It's just like, we get it. You like Tidebreaker. Like, that's the only thing. This is the only game he's done that I know about that's actually finished. Everything else has been working for another company. So it's like, okay, let's keep going. Shilling relentlessly. And I do mean relentlessly. So we're making it. Going all the way back. No, you might, why, Notepad, why are you going back in time so much? Because there was a gap of time I wanted to look at. Because for a while there, You see this right here with Smunchy Games. Smunchy is his main thing. This is like the most important thing you gotta learn about Smunchy. He likes Smunchy. Now let me see if I can find, it was itch, it was, right here. Follow my blade.itch.io. This is his entire itch.io, by the way. But this line right here activated my neurons. Hey, I make games for Smunchy Games on Twitter. Hey, every pony, I make things for Smunchy Games on Twitter. What? What? If you're getting noticed and putting his stuff out there, saying drive-through and it seemed like an odd choice. You miss only a huh? God, who tweets about this game? He needs to chill. It feels so artificial. It was his first publisher for physical release. Things fell off and Fallon on my blade. Sean Fallon confirmed. The weird thing about this is like one of those strange and beautiful moments of time, because this was his mentor. And I'm actually going to do a quick, like, just little note here real fast. We're actually going to open up the game just so I can show everyone this. Oh, where are you? Right here. Sean Fallon, the first to recognize my potential and the impetus of this game's prototype. My mentor and friend. Though we couldn't get through the gate together, we still walk side by side all the same. I'm looking forward to working with you in the future projects, and I'm happy for the success you've had on yours. Interesting note there. Now, why do I bring this up? He was working for Smunchy for a while. Quite a while, in fact. He was working for Smunchy in some regard. Now, this is why I'm going back in time a little bit. Also, he, have no fear, everybody. He's good friends with Jay. I love Jay. Don't you know I love Jay Dragon? And I want to only hit him with a car, but I'm afraid I'd wreck a car. I'll see you in hell, Jay. But yeah, it keeps going, and like, yeah, so post Tidebreaker, I'm basically going to only smaller stuff. Work on the writers really neat. Being quite as emotionally as the Tidebreaker RPG. Tidebreaker RPG. Tidebreaker RPG. You should look more about Tidebreaker. It is such a bizarre fucking thing, because the thing is, this website was up all the way back in 2021. Like right during the Kickstarter even, the website was up. And then it keeps going. Yeah, and it's like, it keeps going, and it's like, cool, it's Tidebreaker, and it's have no fear. Hey, Elon Musk. Yes, hello, Elon Musk. Wild Shot in the Dark, I know you got some interest in TTRPG. Can I interest you in mine? Like, have no fear, I'm gonna @ Elon Musk. Oh boy, we got more. It just keeps going. And it keeps, you look at it more and more and more, and I get more mystified by it. Because it's the same shit over and over again. Because that's all he's done. There's no, it's just been shilling. Like, that's the important thing to note. It's just been shilling. None of this feels natural. Like, none of this is like, oh boy, for fuck's sake, we got things like, we've finally got Followed My Blades, but we also got Grim Ogre Labs with fucking Michiman on here. It's like, okay, there's gotta be something else here. There's gotta be more going on. There just isn't. It just keeps going. Where is it? Where are you, Smunchy? Have no fear. Smunchy is here. Yeah, Bance Breaker, have no fear. Suit and Tie Breaker Groove. We'll talk about the grooves later. Where is it? I think we're right by it. September. No. There's a point in here where he does directly cite, like, ask. Oh, know you're around. October. There's literally a point where he does quite literally ask fucking Smunchy what's going on. Wonderful. Oh. And it's just this strange existence where it's like, yeah, he's just citing Smunchy all of a sudden. Yeah, and this is all the way back in 2020, mind you. He's still talking about it. Yeah, right here. He's also working on home play. We're still playtesting at here. This was originally, going by some of these tweets over here, this was originally, right here, okay. August 4th, not October 4th. Smunchy Games is busy at work on the final Tidebreaker RPG update before launch. Anything you want to see in the game until August 30, let me know. Holla at me in the DMs or on our Discord. Smunchy was working on this game. Smunchy had worked on it at least. And that's odd. Very odd, in fact. This game is not... How do I want to word? Smunchy's a practical man. Smunchy's a very practical man. Just sent Tidebreaker to Sam Hyde. Wait, he made a cover character, black superhero with electric powers. What a stereotypical superhero. Does he have to shill anywhere else, or is it just Twitter? I'm surprised by this. You need to go all the way back to 2018, 2019. Ask for playtesters, but there were no comments. Yeah, one of the odd things here... He was, now mind you, during this point, he was working with Smunchy, as in, like, he was writing shit for Smunchy. Now, maybe a spin-off of Parslings. I don't think so, because again, Smunchy's a very practical man. This is a very practical gentleman. Smunchy's the kind of, he's a businessman. Smunchy damn well knows things. Smunchy doesn't make games anymore, he just makes Pathfinder things now. Because he's the one who announced, like, I don't want to compete anymore. So, my opinion on Smunchy's never really been super high because I find him annoying. Love you, Smunchy. But, yeah, he's been working directly with Smunchy. Directly. Mostly because this is the main guy behind everything. Say hello to Smunchy, everyone. But yeah, it keeps going. And you kind of already see this. One of those interesting notes. The hat's already up. There's a hat in production already. It's there. I made an ability bot. I made all of these things. The website's still up. You see the beanies up. You see more hats. There's literally Smunchy. Look, everyone, it's Smunchy because Smunchy made this game. I don't think Nick wrote that much of it. I think it was a 50-50, but he didn't want to do it anymore, I guess. And it keeps fucking going. He has been shilling this game for literal years. But yeah, it's like, remember, 100% of the proceeds go to Black Lives Matter and other charities. Snapbacks and beanies now available at our partner merch store. They had merch for this game a year and a half before the Kickstarter came up. Tonight's Tidebreaker session. This game was up and running years ago. And that's so bizarre to me. Like, something is super wrong with it. And it keeps going. And it keeps going. And going. Maybe on World Anvil. Strange. Strange. World Anvil. It's almost like they were talking with them later on. This is just one of those bizarre things. That this game is about as natural as... Well, it isn't natural. It's about as natural as fucking plastic. And... Oh, cool mech. Holla at Smunchy. Gotta holla at Smunchy. 2019, we've got fucking beanies. Yeah, and then we go all the way down here. I don't think it's gonna load anymore. But, That's the very odd thing with Butler. Yeah, natural. He should have, themed hookah. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it was originally. I don't know if it was paths. I don't know if it was... It's hard to tell. But it's not very natural. Something about this game just activated some something wrong in my mind. Something incorrect was here. Something was saying, what's going on here? Like, something is clearly wrong. Now, anytime I see merch for things like these, I get a little bit weirded out, but it was confirmed that he was working for Smunchy. Like, that is a known fact of life. He was working on Smunchies for Smunchy products, which is mostly Pathfinder. And he has had other games. Now, let me find... This is one game. This is Recompense. Recompense RPG. I wonder if I can find the website for it again. Yeah, as you can kind of see here, welcome to Recompense. This is the early one. But if we go here, this is his WordPress for Recompense Soulbinder. Same thing. Nick Butler, kind of see right here. But you kind of see something, what I'm doing now. Good news and bad news. Ultimately, this game was put on hiatus because it decided to give up working on it after 2 years and some changing on this project. I got approached by Sean Fallon to work on a new project, Tidebreaker. I was approached by Sean Fallon to work on a new project, Tidebreaker. You see, I find this game interesting. Tidebreaker will be out in June 2020, coincidentally, right around my birthday. Tidebreaker existed before Nick started working on it. Again, that's such a bizarre thing. Tidebreaker existed before Butler worked on it. And I don't know if that's the way he's worded it is wrong. If you call it the YIIK of TTR, how painful is it? Scale to 1 to new form of torture. It's just completely bizarre, and my brain hurt reading it. But yeah, just to kind of give you... I do not think Butler is Sean. Here's the thing. I do not believe Nick Butler is Sean Fallon's, fucking get out Tulpa. No, I don't believe that. I think Sean wrote something. I think Sean wrote an idea for a game. But, knew it wouldn't sell. Now, here's the thing. He didn't think it would sell very well, so he needed someone else to write it. Someone who looked right. Someone who was right. Protege, you could say. I'm not making any implications. I am simply putting that on the table, and I want you all to think about it. But that is, I have a very nasty feeling. Hence why he got for a Diana Jones award. I mean, hell, Diana Jones, right? It's not a small thing. Yeah, this was, unpolished than Tidebreaker's Alpha. All the way back here. It's very... Like, let's look at Diana Jones Award. Diana Jones Award. So, there's got to be previous winners, right? We've got to have, previous possible ones. So, if we do Black Excellence in Gaming, more than 24 people got it. Oh boy, I sure do love... Chris Spivey, everyone, have no fear. Mike Pondsmith got that award too. Cool. I love it. I love it, right? See, it's funny when you talk about Chris Spivey, which we talked about Haunted West not too long ago, because Chris Spivey got it alongside Mike Pondsmith. And Tanya DePass. Oh boy, everyone gets an award now. Great. I always forget, technically in 2017 they gave themselves an award. I remember that. Good times. But like... Controversy? What's going on? Wow, that's not weird. Let's see, Diana Jones Award runners up. I mean, it's got to tell us all about the Diana Jones Awards, right? There is absolutely nothing wrong with sponsoring an awards show that you might be a part of. That would be weird. Let's see, Ajit George, Haunted West, I forgot was on there, Mothership, 2021, the finalists, Big Bad Cons, The Game Crafter, Mike Pondsmith was on there again, Session 0 online, Wingspan, Emerging Designer Program. Let's see, who were you? Honorees, Black Excellence in Gaming, 2019. So he kind of got, from what I'm getting from this, is that he got cucked out of it. Like, because those would be the only dates that he would really be able to do anything. So maybe Emerging Designers, that's what he was talking about? Yeah, Emerging Designers, 2022 Emerging Designers. Welcome to, oh. Hello, Nick. Here he is. Flagship title. This is his flagship title. Keeps going around. Circle. Around, around, and around. But that's Tidebreaker. And it's kind of a Azora Law, we meet again. Do they have a melon? Giving a TTRPG award to the TTRPG war criminal. Can I pretend to be black and get that award? Doesn't giving an award to multiple people at once defeat the purpose? Yes, but they were special. Or did they have to be melanin verification? I guess it shows a photo of yourself or do the old classic ARD show and have some ancestor that is enough. But yes, that is, like, just, I want to set the tone of Tidebreaker. Somewhere along the realm of 2020, I'd say about 2020 to 2021, Tidebreaker left Smunchy's hands and went exclusively to Butler. Now, not to say, mind you, that Smunchy didn't have any influence on things. That would be ridiculous. Hey, Notepad, hope you're having a good day. I am having a good day. We're talking about weird games, and it's great. I love it. It's amazing. I love being weirded out, and but hey, we can't talk about things. I'm not making any implications. That would be bad. But let's talk about Tidebreaker. Cinematic tabletop role-playing game. All right, everybody, Avengers Assemble, development version 1.05. Technically, this isn't the super duper version yet, though, because I couldn't find, and I wasn't going to pay $30 fucking for the final super duper uber version. Also printed by Print Ninja in China. God bless China. But have no fear, every pony. Unleashed by Tidebreaker. We already have a gaming license on this, by the way. Very important for you and me and everyone else to know. I've never heard someone say it's awesome and kill me now in the same sentence. Notepad, can you make implications? I'm making waves, Ethical. I'm making waves. You don't understand. But yeah, generally speaking, you get things like, they already have their, like, cool make stuff for us license. They have that. Has anybody done that? No. And because it is not on any site, it is impossible to tell how many people have actually bought this game. I don't mean Kickstarters. No. I mean actually sat down and purchased the game. I have no idea how many people have actually purchased Tidebreaker before. It could be one person, it could be 1 million people, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Not a single human being alive has ever talked about this game, except Mildra. Because he brought the person on, and me. Gilla did not bought it. Well, probably not, because he probably doesn't know it exists. Like, DTRPG is terrible. I don't like DTRPG very much for a variety of reasons, but there's one very important thing about DTRPG. He reviewed it. That's even funnier. The thing with DTRPG is that it gives you a good idea for sales metrics. Hey, you have a gold award. At least 100 people bought your game. You have a copper. 50 people bought your game. Hey, I have super mega adamantine. 5,000 people have bought your game. That's a good metric for things. Even on itch.io, you can sometimes get a metric for things by reviews or the number of people who are, the ratings on things. You can get a metric for something. On a private website with no ratings or reviews or anything like that, you get nothing. There is no metric for how good or bad this game is. Or if anyone even bought it, or he just didn't hand it out to random people. But yes, welcome to the very first image, the one that he constantly uses. As you can see, we've got proud brother, getting ready to kung fu battle, because again, sorry, black superheroes, you can only have lightning powers. That's the one. And then we kind of get like, let you slip into hyper-competent heroes to explore the world your group creates, all right? Clandestine plots, okay. Epic battle, cool. Power of Hope, a meta currency that's used when chips are down, while GM has Doom. Cool. Dedications, let's go for the dedications, because there's quite a few of these. In community, and okay, my grandfather, cool. My grandmother, all right. Standout feature, sly matriarch in... Most of his family has, like, parts in the game, and there's nothing wrong. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with this. I find it fine. My mother, Renee Jackson. Thank you for love. Karmic Envoy. We've got Heather Blaha. Mary, they say you're the best part of my mother and grandmother. Every day I spend with you, another blessing. I gave you so much stuff. You gave you the stone polisher. You could have worded that a little bit better, my friend. Finally, to all the marginalized kids and kids at heart out there who have ever wanted to do something more with their lives but have struggled. Also, right up and rooting for you. And then, of course, special thanks. Brincita is their graphic design and layout. We have Draconic, who's an editor. I didn't show it, but he did have quite a few complaints about paying for editors and how he doesn't want to pay for editors at all. But he got this guy to do it, so that's all that matters. We have David Joyce. We've got more artwork, Metallica, art. I'm not even going to try, my brother in Christ. J.M. Butler, art. You're killing it out here, buddy. More art, more art. And then, of course, all the family. All of his aunts and uncles and friends and people. The niece, basically the daughter I'll never have. I love you, kiddo. You'll do amazing one day and hope you never lose that sense of humor. Here's to you, universe unrivaled potential. And me. Yes, he does cite himself. I do like the fact that I always find it funny because it's like, it's me. And then, of course, his friends. His various different friends. Right there, Scott Holiday there. I'm not even going to pronounce that. Kenneth Johnson III. And of course, we can't forget his best friend, J Dragon. You're a lifesaver. Seriously, thank you so much, J Dragon. I love you, and I really hope your dad is having a wonderful time in Colombia, J Dragon, doing art stuff. Yeah, J Dragon, whose dad is technically this big media guy. That's completely unrelated to everything. Sorry, everybody. Just a slip of the tongue. I hate Jay, and I want you to remember that, Jay. Slip of the tongue. Or does he have the glow? A little bit of A, a little bit of B. Static Shot looks cool, but that's his deal. Not everyone else the same skin tone. I love Blaha. He's my favorite morbidly obese bodybuilder. The only other game where authors would thank themselves for writing a book is Fatal, so Tidebreaker is an interesting company. Yeah. Welcome to Jay. I love Jay. Jay Dragon is my favorite game designer so much. And you can clip that, everyone. You should send it to Jay, too. That Notepad add-on thinks Jay Dragon is his favorite designer. I love him so much. I only want to hit him with a car. But he would wreck my car. But generally speaking, yeah, that's it. Sandy Pug Games. If you, I don't believe you're in debt, but all the hours spent talking with me, the ledge need to be acknowledged. So, my friend, I do that here. Of course, Munchie, and of course, additional thanks to Gabe. Hello, Gabe Hicks. Hello, Meg Baker, Mama Baker. This is Vincent's. By the way, this is Vincent Baker's wife. Claire Lindenboom. You don't sound, members of the team from back in Smunchy Games days. Shadow Tantrum. What's the Shadow Tantrum project? No idea. But who knows? We've been yeeting bad guys and fastball special and teammates in every playtest since. Additional writing, Monkey Paws Games. Thank you so much. And of course, Ewan Clooney. Fucking Ewan Clooney shows up in this one. Thank you so much for the wonderful tables. Ewan doesn't get any capitalization because he's a white dude, but we love Ewan. Would have never come to pass with the work he did. Thank you so much for the wonderful tables. Sorry, Ewan. Sorry, Ewan. You have two things in your life. You translated some JRPGs, and then you write tables. That's all you do, Ewan. Clooney, Ewan tables Clooney. And then Janet Forbes. Gracing these pages with some tables that could have been mistaken for something from your page, not my game. No, thanks, Janet. Again, World Anvil stuff. And then, of course, all the Kickstarter backers. Special thanks to the day one backers. That's just 13 pages of thanking people. Hello, what was so? I can see you. Chat's still working. It should be anyway. But one of the fascinating parts of this game, this is why I call it the YIIK, our YIIK of tabletop role-playing games. You have literally the entire indie circle gathering together in like this weird kumbaya to shill a game. And nobody gives a shit about it. It's amazing. And I'm going to upload this video and I'm just going to be like, wow, everyone. Wow, thank you for going over my game where I call you a weird cretin. Twitch knows. Fucking Bezos knows. But yes, here is the game. We're going to go over it. We're going to do the best I can. Now, I need to bring in someone very important. I'm bringing in Punish Chippy, of course. Say hello to Punish Chippy. He is going to be our hero for today. He is going to tell us how to do things. And if you may be saying, wow, that looks really busy, don't worry, the actual character sheet is more busy. So, let's, you've played an RPG before, right? Yeah, you like keeping it, this is their way of, saying, like, don't be weird, it's keep it heroic. We're all here to tell stories as a group, cooperatively even. Stories, you say? What kind of stories? What kind of character can I play? Doesn't matter. It's just everything at once. So. Generally speaking, there is quite a few different stats here. There's technically 6 different stats that you have to worry about. You gotta worry about your might, endurance, agility, focus, wits, and intuition. Now, some of these do a lot more than others. Wits is amazing, by the way. Wits is going to be used for just about everything, because wits is just good. However, might is used for punching people. Endurance is usually for blocking. Because how this works is that this is the offensive stat, this is the defensive stat. Offense, defense, offense, defense. Easy enough to understand, a little bit weird the way they word it and the way they kind of split things up. Because you may be wondering, hey, okay, we're going to learn how to make a character real fast here. No, we don't learn to make a character until halfway down the book. So, task checks. This is going to be the most main thing you're going to be doing. So you're going to take a number of dice equal to whatever your attribute is. Any dice that is a 4, 5, or 6 is considered a success, and you need to beat the difficulty rating. So it might be saying, hey, Chippy, I need you to make me an endurance check. Chippy's got a 4 in his endurance. He's going to roll, and he rolls a 1 success. And if he just needs 1 success, he succeeds. All you need to worry about. He rolled a 3, 1, 1, 5 for context. because I can't have nice things. Oh no. Advantages. Anytime you get an advantage on something, you're going to be adding dice to it. You're going to be adding more things to your advantage. But you're going to want... Advantages can be applied to a lot of different things at once. You might get bonuses from your stats. You might get bonuses from stunts or specials or anything. You can technically write this in here, because what happens a vast majority of the time, let's say I'm being cool, and I describe something really neat. I'm going to get a stunt die. I'm going to roll my dice. Hey, everyone, I got an extra success because I rolled stunt die on it. Fine enough. Stunts are kind of a major thing. You need to do more stunts. And stunts are exactly the way you think, otherwise known as the GM decides whatever the fuck it is. Is this a game a superhero game, given the image of the guy with lightning powers? No, it's not a superhero game, but it is a superhero game, but it's also not. It is an action movie game. That's an important thing to note. This is an action movie game. With superpowers being that, because I love Marvel. I love Marvel so much. Marvel's the greatest thing ever since created by man. Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. That's the only thing you can do with action movies, because Marvel is the greatest game, greatest series of all time. Generally speaking, DR2 is going to be the main one that you're going to be working with. Anything above 6 is technically impossible. And you shouldn't be doing that, because that's hard. Now, then we get to botches and ignites. This is the most obtuse fucking mechanic in the world, but it makes absolutely zero sense of why it's here. So, PCs are usually skilled enough to disregard luck, okay? However, you can get botches. Now, what does a botch mean? If you get a botch, say from an ability or power, you can start failing things. You can start having bad days. So, let's say, for example, you have botch 2. Something gives you a botch and something else gives you a botch, you now have botch 2. Now, if you have botch 2, the effects trigger every 1 or 2 that shows up in your dice pool, because what happens is with botch 1, every 1 removes a success. And it's 1 and 2, botch 3 is 1, 2, and 3 remove successes. Why is it written in this way? I have no idea. So let's roll my dice. 5d6, and I have a no botches. Roll. I've got 3 successes. 3 successes and a 1 and a 2. Alright. If I have botch 1, with that 1, I'm knocking that 6 out. I only have 2 successes now. With botch 2, I'm knocking another 6 out. I only have 1 success. That is how botches work. Now, this leads to ignites. Ignites work the same way, where you can go up, but you can technically have botch 2 ignite 2. Now, what does this actually mean? So, for each 6 in your dice pool, every 6 with Ignite 1, you're going to re-roll the lowest failure. And effect now triggers for every 5, effective triggers for every 4, 5, and 6. Now, what does this mean? Let's say, take our 5d6, we have Ignite. I'm going to roll. I rolled jack shit. Let's say I roll a 6. So, I have 3, 3, 3, 4, and 6. I have Ignite 1, so I have a 6. I can take one of those 3s and re-roll it for a success. I have Ignite 2 now. Nothing happens because I don't roll a 5. Ignite 3. Because I have another 4 in there, I can take another one of my D3s. I roll, and I rolled lower. It doesn't really matter because they're still a failure. In sheer technicality, nothing says they kind of bounce each other out. So what occurs is if you have botch 2, reroll until no new ignited die appear, because they do technically ignite further dice later on, which is a little bit weird. In no sheer technicality in this, you can have botch 2 and ignite 2. So again, 5d6, we roll. I roll. If I have ignite 2, so let's take a quick look here. I have Ignite 2. They don't really say what takes priority in this, at least again from what I've been able to see. So I'm going to assume Ignites take priority. Because I've rolled a 6 and a 5, I'm going to re-roll both of my 1s, and I got another 6. And because I got 2 additional re-rolls now, I'm going to re-roll. I've got a 1 every time because I'm very unlucky. So I'm going to take that 1 now, and I'm going to take one of my other dice and get rid of it. So now I only have 3 successes. Does that seem complicated? Yes, it is. Will it come up? Probably not, but if it does, it can. So, now we've got to excellence. It's a meta currency again. As a reward for exceptional role-playing, the GM can reward excellence, which may be redeemed by any PC to trigger a spotlight moment. Okay, now this is what I mean by it's like weird action movie. So, we don't know what hope is yet. Well, we sort of do, but don't, because they haven't explained it. So, during a spotlight, player gains hope once per turn in combat or once per task check performed outside of combat. Okay, easy enough. And you may use momentum to power up their dice rolls as a stunt bonus for the duration of the scene. Does that make any sense to anybody? Don't worry, you don't need to. You get taken out for any reason, you immediately recover roll to avoid it. Cool. So, what does this mean? It means that if you get excellence, if the GM said, hey, that's really cool, take an excellence, and you can save that excellence until you need it to trigger a spotlight moment. But you get that spotlight moment, you get the special good meta currency, you get a little bit of good boy meta currency, or you can use your momentum to make sure that your powers are doing better, so you're burning your momentum, which is another meta currency, to roll more dice and get bonuses. And if you ever were to die, if you ever were to be taken out, you can make an immediately recover check. Which a recover check is a different thing, which you need to do to try to recover your HP, but not really, because its HP works very strangely in this game. So, that is what you get by having your special meta currency, a special meta currency outside of that. If you fail on the extra chance, though, you are assumed dead and are taken out, but not really, but you still generate momentum until you pass the recovery check, which is the scene ending of their spotlight moment. While assumed dead, they are untargetable and immune from any direct damage. Okay, now, does anybody have any questions? This is very obtuse, and I will do my best to answer it, because obtuse bullshit is what I deal with best. Effectively speaking, this is a meta currency for you to generate more meta currencies, and as well as keep your ass alive. So you always want to have excellence because you're superheroes, but you gotta give it powers. Heartfelt exchange, playing it up, doing something extra heartwarming, share this, be nice, play up your backstory, anything particularly off. No, really, if it's cool enough for a showstopper, wouldn't cut it. Yeah, that's sweet, sweet, excellent. So, showstoppers, completely different. A showstopper is when your stunt description, pretty much when you stunt super hard, you get a showstopper. Now, if you get a showstopper, if players agree that you get a showstopper, all your stunt die, all of your stunts ignite 6s by default. So you have ignite 1 by default. And you automatically qualify for an explosion, which if you explode, technically that's a different thing, in which you'd allow extra die to all ignite results. And yeah, I mean, if you get more, showstoppers are different from everything else. You can't botch anymore, so that previous example of botch 2 ignite 2 doesn't actually apply if you do showstoppers. You can also ignore the previously stated rule about not being able to add die. However, except that dice that never qualify for rerolls. So you need to have a completely separate group of die just for showstoppers to understand that they cannot be rerolled. I fucking hate this mechanic. I fucking despise it. I know what you're doing. I can see it. I understand. Doesn't mean I like it. I fucking get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Because what's happening here is that he is... What is really occurring here that gets a little bit funky is that he is saying, if you trigger this super cool event that other players like, you are effectively triggering other moments in time to do something else with different dice that are now different from your regular dice. But those dice are allowed to do other things and influence the original dice. So it's like, wow, that seems really obtuse and complicated for no good reason. And the answer is yes, because it fucking is. So, yeah, you should be rewarded. You know, it's like, so roll a showstopper, do the following. Stunt Badnass to doing it. Check for the ignite dice. Once all re-rolling has finished, add a die to your pool for each ignite die result. Repeat step 3. So you can technically, this is like your ultimate explosion. Why is ignite not just explosions by default? I don't know. Fuck you, that's why, I guess. Then we have cliffhangers. You know, in D&D 4th edition, they had skill challenges, which were their own kind of unique thing that was separated from regular combat. Fun fact. Oh god. Ow, okay. But generally speaking, cliffhangers are that. This is like, oh no, there's something wrong going on. If it's medium difficulty, everyone's going to have to roll something. So it might be like, let's say we have 3 players. So let's say we got our 3 players and we're on a medium difficulty. So medium difficulty, that's 12. We add in all our things, like we want to jump out and we want to jump on the plane and go start blasting or whatever. And let's say I have a 3, my friend has a 3, I have a, let's say, I don't have enough D6s around here for this, so let me go over here, grab more D6, pile of literal die. My desk. Cool. So let's say someone's got 3 dice, someone's got 4 dice, someone's got 5 dice. We need to get 12 successes from all of these. Because it's 4 per player, there's 3 players. So we'll take all our dice and we roll. So 6, 6, 5, 6. We rolled really well actually here. 5, 5. And the rest, actually, no, we got another 5. So technically, we rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We rolled 7 successes, but oh no! That's not gonna beat 12. So instead of beating the overall goal, we're now gonna enter a nail biter. Near miss the narrative. This DR should be roughly half of the win condition. What happens and how you recover. Be careful, you only get 2 nail biters. But what's gonna happen again? If you trigger a nail biter, you're going to roll again and add their successes to the previous roll. So if you got 7 successes, we do a nail biter. Oh no, we're not that bad yet. We're going to take all our successes. We're going to take all our dice. We're going to roll, 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 roll. And we need a 7. We got 8 successes, 9 successes, 10 successes, 11 successes, 12 successes. We've just beat our goal. I literally did. I rolled a bunch of fucking 3s and 1. Wow, we did it, everyone. We completed our goal. We completed our thing. You usually only get 2 of these. Over the next stage, do any effects, but successes exceed carry, current stage's DR carry over into the next stage. So there might be, say, a 3-stage, a 3-stage cliffhanger. And if it's a 3-stage cliffhanger, you're going to be doing more and more and more things. There's going to be more problems. There's going to be more issues. There's going to be more things building onto each other. So we need to jump. We need to get out of the plane. How do we get out of the plane? We're going to do this. We're falling through the air. What are we doing now? Well, we're going to do this. Oh, it's a nail biter. Yeah, and things like that. Like, cliffhangers are difficult. I don't hate cliffhangers. I think the way they're worded is a little weird, but nothing I hate. I think it's just obtuse, which summarizes a lot of this game, to be perfectly frank with you. Now, scenario generation. None of this shit matters. It's a bunch of fucking tables. Have no fear. Solarpunk, you like fucking tables to generate locations and shit. You like Ewan Clooney giving you, a table coming over your, your fucking desk. That's what that is. Literally, most of this game is tables. Like, there's a good chunk of this game that are just tables to generate things. And it's like, wow, cool, tables. I don't understand why people still fucking come over tables. You're like, but tables are good, and if you have good tables, you have a good game. No. Just come up with something. Your creative soul, do it. Do it. Do it now. I'll reset chat real fast, make sure Twitchy isn't having a stroke. So, we've gotten this far. Let me just double check if someone pinged me. Ping, 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 why are you always pinging me? Boy, oh boy. So before I go, what on earth section is game written like hello fellow Zoomer thing? Literally the entire game is written as an hello fellow Zoomer. It is annoying. It gets worse later on because he's like, wow, bruh. Anytime you write bruh, B-R-U-H, you kill that man. Unless it is someone writing things via like not vernacular. I can't remember the exact. It's a Mark Twain term. Unless you are writing something in as someone is speaking it. If you are writing a character and he says bruh, then you can write bruh. Do not write bruh in formal text though. I will kill you if you write that. I will find you wherever you are, in whatever country you are, and I will find you and I will hunt you down saying bruh, bruh, bruh as I hack you to death with a machete. I did not pass English with a fucking A for you to write bruh. I did not work my ass off. So, hope. What does hope do? Hope is your main good boy currency. We all love hope. It is a meta dash currency. You love meta currencies. I love meta currencies. We all love meta currencies. I do like how they do explain what a meta currency is. I find that very strange, but I do like it. So, hope is... It's kind of odd because hope is not a singular person's resource. It's the group's resource. It's our hope. And that does mean anyone can technically use hope whenever they want to. Such as gaining more momentum, ignoring negative effects, expanding the area, or, creating a new resource. We've got generating leads, putting hold on hold is weird. When altering the world with expenditures of hope, there must be a source of that for that change as mentioned above. When any effect tries to alter a resource or character, at the reach of the last player to spend hope on the target, as an additional cost for the alteration. Any additional costs relate to the hold at will. At will, if the target has no prior engagement with the player, you can use the target's reach or size to determine the cost as normal with the player. Sometimes things are written like this. It's shitty and I hate it. But hey, I'm going to feel that in the morning. You ignore damage that would kill you for a round and instantly recover at the end of your next turn. Protection. Become immune to harbingers, which are bad guys, unless the GM spends doom equal to the target's current hold. Because harbingers are going to try to kill people. Like, harbingers are going to, show up into a neighborhood and be like, yo, I'm Mr. Evil, and I'm going to fucking blast this, blast grandma to, Kingdom Come using my death laser penis or whatever. And if you don't protect grandma, things are going to get worse. Grandma's dead. Damn. He killed her with his death laser penis. But if you have protection on them, they can't target it. Only you can be targeted. Pushing is the worst expenditure of hope physically possible. Because what hope does is, let's say, for example, I roll a 5. I'm like, hey, I'm going to push spend 1 hope, bump it up to a 6. That's all it does. I think probably adding just more dice would be better. Spout exposition. Cool. But you have to do it by the target's size or reach. Neat. Hope is extremely versatile tools and can be used for a lot while you're learning how it works. Use hope to establish facts, improve dice. You can also generate leads, and you're just going to be building things up with it because you need to build these communities up. They don't talk about them until a little bit later, but that's what this game mostly is about, building and protecting communities. You're going to get quite a bit of hope. Pretty much if you have 4 players, you're going to end up with 8 hope. Every single thing you get more hope for is by associating it with location. Restore spent hope by resolving issues in the locations they visit. So you go to a neighborhood, we go to a neighborhood, there's a problem. How do we fix the problem? We do this. Hey, we go to a neighborhood. Old man Willikers lost his dog. How do we find his dog? We're gonna find his dog. Oh no! Grandma needs help. Grandma is trying to fight against capitalism or something for a little mom and pop bookstore. Oh no! We need to burn down Walmart or something. I don't fucking know. It's issues that you establish. Also, those pancakes look jank, and December, we got cleaning there. Again, it's not superheroes, but it's totally superheroes. Like, remember that. Look at those pancakes. I know why. So, he's very proud about putting all of the artists' names in things, so, go. I kind of want to make pancakes tonight. I do like pancakes. So, beacons of hope. Now, every single area is going to get a beacon of hope. It is it's in a place, it's a person, it's a thing that if you admire the beacon of hope, cool. If you admire the beacon of hope enough, you get hope back. You get good boy points by liking the beacon of hope. Cool. Look, everyone. It's, hope is Akira Hope is special, however. Unlike normal Akira of Hope, it's always tracked in a personal pool that may be solely by the character meeting Taki. So, most of the time it's a pool, except if you meet a beacon. But if you get a beacon of hope, it's your personal hope, but not everyone else's hope. Because that's how fucking I love if and or but perhapses. I love it. I love if and or but perhaps. Who cleans their superhero outfit in a line like that? What about their secret identity? My brother in Christ, like, you don't need a secret identity when you're here. That just, like, oh, wait a second, is that a super suit? Like, yeah, what are you? I a cosplay. It's a fetish thing. I'm like, oh, I understand. That's all you have to say nowadays, being like, why do you have a super suit? It's a fetish thing. I'm like, oh, I understand. Reminds me of that, there's a comic out there, which is just like, oh, it's pretty much like, oh, everybody, like, all this, like, oh, all the superhero, like, it's like a talk show, and this one, like, superhero lady is talking to, like, this female anchor, being like, oh, yeah, no, every superhero is having sex with one another, all of them. It's horny as shit in there. It being just like, why not go through the store, pick up a Poison Ivy costume, you will have the best sex of your life. And it's like, we're cutting here. I don't know why. That's, every single superhero thing is now just like a perpetual porno to me now. I don't know why. I always find that funny, being like, yeah, these are just people just doing stupid shit together. So, heroic resolve. What's a heroic resolve? Now, if you're defending your main goal or home, it applies all of your dice instead of a single die. Cool. This is called Heroic Resolve. Spend hope roll that involves your subplot and resolve to the bonus once per session. On the other hand, your main goal subplot can also be used against you by having players and NPCs by adding the level of your goal as a special bonus to convince you. We don't talk about this very much, but generally speaking, your main goal is worth about +4. Your subplots are about +2. So, if I'm trying to find the man who stole Chippy's chips, if Chippy is on his one-way quest to find and absolutely kick the ass of the guy who stole his french fries or chips, he is going to get a pretty hefty bonus. He can actually spend, also note he can actually spend almost a lot of his hope to really get more out of it. He can push all of his dice by 1. He can, add more things to it. However, if someone is trying to convince him to do something to succeed at his main goal, they're going to get a pretty hefty bonus to it. They're going to say, hey, I get more dice to convince you to do what I want you to. You restore hope by being nice to one another. Is the artwork completely out of place here? Yes, don't think about it too hard. Generally speaking, perform quirks and standouts, that's how it is. Spend excellence, complete things in the neighborhood, resolve subplots, visit the beacon, sabotage yourself, or ruin yourself. And there we go. Doom, on the other hand, Doom is the overcomplicated DM resource. You love it. Now, for example, the GM is going to get a number of Doom by being the GM, effectively. They can get things like collateral damage. You may spend 1 Doom in combat to cause any missed attacks to be redirected to an innocent bystander or support structure or location you're in. They need to spend hope to cause the attack to harmlessly pass by or destroyed structure or object to not cause further harm. Or the players may roll to overcome a 1-stage cliffhanger to save any innocents that may be affected starting the next play turn. Or you can complicate things. You introduce new questions, introduce new problems, introduce new obstacles, which is a completely different thing you got to learn about. One of the goals is you need to restore, or you need to fix that obstacle. Hey, little Timmy is stuck under some rubble. That's an obstacle we need to do. Well, we don't have to do it right now, but if we do, we get some hope out of it, so we need to waste time fixing that thing. We need to save little Timmy. Oh no, we can replicate any effect that uses hope by spending an equal amount of Doom. Or we can establish a fact, but it's a dark fact. It's evil. Or you can also gloat. If you gloat, you gain more momentum equal to the current Doom value plus your power level immediately after knocking down an opponent. So generally speaking, if you gloat properly, you get more momentum to kick more people's ass. However, you don't actually need to spend Doom if you reveal a secret doing it. Now, they don't actually dictate what the fuck that means, so if you reveal a secret, say, hey, my evil base is located in the Tower of Doom, they're like, damn, that sucks. And you're like, oh, I don't have to spend any Doom now, and I get 8 momentum, and I'm now going to laser eye your face off. Lamau, ha 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 ha, you're dead, and I've killed you because you suck and I hate you. Like, oh, gloating makes you more powerful. Harbinger, if you mark something that is bad as a Harbinger, you are doing things to put Harbinger on it. And you want to spend Doom equal to your attacker's power level to ignore death from an attack and somehow get away. But this is kind of located on something it shouldn't. You can opt to use different parts of it. Harbinger's in this target. If you're trying to do desperate escapes and you're trying to use Doom to use things. But if you do no sell, you're increasing any DR to the point of Doom spent. But if you're doing Stooge promotions, if you have 2 or less Stooges, which are pretty much like minions, if they survive, you can actually promote them up by spending Doom, but if they don't have a character ready, or borrow one of the PC's characters, and then they turn into a real character, and then you can say, this isn't even my final form, and you have all 5s in your stats, but if it's also at the very power hour, you get 10 in all your stats. You getting this already? You understanding what's going on? The boys were like that. All supers would just go to Island of Bang. Or we could play Tenra Banjo Zero and have a good time by karma maxing. Yeah, we could also do that. But no, we're here together, everybody. Now start tide breaking. Do the tide shaker. Have no fear. Beacons of Doom are effectively the same thing. However, if you ever get to a point of lowering hope to 0, the darkest hour begins, and it's the final confrontation with the main antagonist. That is actually how you trigger an end state in this game, is you completely fucking lose. And you have no hope, and you're now trying to effectively get, this isn't my final foe, they can trigger gloat every round to get shit tons of momentum. Generally speaking, When they are at their final form, they're impossible to beat. It is much more difficult to defeat them. However, the game has no mastermind, plays harbingers there. If the players win, they are able to break free or save at least one target in the presence of multiple harbingers. They gain +1 maximum hope, +1 for each PC key figure supporting cast killed before and during the darkest hour. They pretty much, if you trigger the darkest hour, it is the oh fuck moment, and once you are oh fucking, things are really bad. And you need to desperately claw shit back together by getting people killed. Pacing with create harbingers is extremely powerful. What's a harbinger, you may ask? Harbingers are things. They're a little bit anomalous. The idea is that something is happening now and we have to fix it. It is, hey everyone, is the harbinger is like we've broken the super we've broken the defense matrix of the ship, and now you're under threat. You're really under threat. We need to fix the defense matrix. How do we do that? Hey, they've discovered your secret identity, and because they've discovered your secret identity, they realize that you're just people now know about you, and something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. The area's resources are under threat. You're under threat. Something's going wrong. That's what a harbinger really is. Now, of course, they can't just make things simple in that regard. Oh, no, my friends. Every single thing has points assigned to it. Our obstacles come in a variety of things, and you can be applied to obstacles if it's an expensive one, if it's fragile, it's heavily contested, it's hidden, it's rare, it's really far away, it's taboo, it's sensitive, and all of these have different factors to them. And so, let's say for our example here, this is what we need to locate. So our location is Harper's Hill, Uptown, the apartment block. Who are the residents? We have the Uptown resident, Professor Schultz, our researchers, beleaguered town mayor, keep the town populace from contacting national news and ruining the tourism industry. Favors from the mayor, labor, independent stores and businesses, and information. And what's Professor Schultz's main thing? Well, he wants to clear his name, and he has some basic allies. What does a shopping center do? Lack of evidence is stonewalled by local government, turn a blind eye to minor crimes. Thing that can be bought in a small town mall. Detective Diggs, what you want to do. The housing projects, all the things he wants to do, all the things at the university going on. That's pretty much it. Like they say, it's a simple matter of reading through the scenario, identifying best to apply Tidebreaker's mechanics. For example, a dungeon crawl classics scenario. Why is Dungeon Crawl Classics being mentioned in this game? I have no fucking idea. They don't really have that many pre-made things. I wish that they did. I think it would probably be a lot better than that. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a silly little boy doing silly little boy things because I'm a silly little notepad. Now, you built it. Now go play in it. Have no fear. Here's the thing going on. It's a fantasy setting now. Have no fear. We're fantasy. Chapter providing rule for social encounters. Guard between stopping bank robberies. We're committing them, but let's try to keep it heroic, okay? Whoa. I don't want to do all that. That's cool. We have rule 0 for that reason. If you want to keep things super simple, then sneaky past people to convince them stuff is a wits versus int roll. And your power level if you have a relevant specialty. I love it how they just say everything going forward is complete horseshit and you can just ignore it if you want. But you shouldn't, because if you do, half the power stop working. So, generally speaking, things have value. Everything is rated by something. You have reputation with people. What's my reputation? Well, if it's positive, it's neutral, you're cool, they're loyal, they're friendly. But if you have negative things like, hey, they just don't like you and you have to pay more to get rid of them, or pay more to have them help you. Such as, those who have hatred towards you will come after you whenever they can. Catch these hands on sight, bruh. literal machete hours. Just machete. So, interests. Cares about. This is one of those things where everything is points. It's, hey, if you have points with, if it's this, you get a certain number of points, but if it's this, you get a different number of points. This has a different amount of value. This has a different amount of value. Something else, everything has different amounts of values and interests and things to them. And of course, everything has different sizes. And it's like, oh, well, you can lift up something at size 2, but there are also projects which have their different costs, but you're not really working on those projects necessarily. You're trying to assess the cost of it, what it's doing with all of these, and then you're going to be rolling potentially against it and trying to fix it. So, for example, hey, we need a disguise to sneak into the Emperor's Ball. You're going to be copying a function, it's going to be single use, and it's an asset of 1 value. So that's 4 under the Bog Witch's reach of 5. Cool. That'll be easy. You just need something to sell it to her. But if it's super more expensive, then that's going to be something like you need to buy it off a little bit. It's going to take time for them. It's going to be difficult for them. Now, vehicles have their own entire set of features, which I'm just not going to worry about. Because generally speaking, weight class is another value modifier. How big are you? Are you deploying it? Are you moving through it? What is a... If it's a weight class 1, it's a normal character. If it's weight class 2, then that takes up an entire zone, because it is a zone-based combat, by the way. Weight class 4 doesn't exist. Weight class 5 is even larger. That also doesn't exist. But if it's a giant monster, it might be something completely different. But if it's subterfuge, what does subterfuge mean? Well, here's an entire stealth system. Oh boy, I sure do love stealth systems. Here's the entire thing on breaking and entering, moving undetected. This is an entire different thing of ideas that you need to worry about, and a vast majority of them is also adding a bunch of modifiers together to create a basic target number that you need to do. But if you can't do it, it's going to take you multiple times to do it. Ha ha ha, super simple. And then it's like creating secrets. Then we go into, finally, after all of this, scene types. What does scene types actually do? They do nothing. Gonna be honest with you, scene types don't do anything. There is no mechanics to any of these. The basic idea is the idea of rising tide, breaking tide, receding tide. That is how almost every single session is broken up. So, if it's in rising tide, that means you ask questions. You are making questions, you are spending doom to create issues, players are trying to solve issues, players are trying to do things. In fact, you're setting up, that's the rising action. Then you have the climax, breaking tide. It's time to set up issues, it's time to fight, it's time to go everything, bum 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 bum. Receding tide is your, falling action. It's things are wrapped up, you're getting, getting more things, celebrations, communion with nature, you're getting abilities back and stuff. Generally speaking, you're doing breaking tide to get things. You're getting your hope back. You're getting your abilities back. Take a break. That's effectively what it is. You start rising, you break the tide, you recede the tide. Does it do anything else? No. Also, have no fear. Character generation, otherwise known as one white boy wants to be a black woman. You may be saying, that looks pretty anime. You're right, it's not. So, concept first. We gotta build our concept. We're making a character, so we gotta build goals. What goals are we making? Well, we're making all these different goals. Goals are great. Goals are awesome. Now, we're gonna try to roll our stats here real fast. Rolling stats is an interesting addition to this game. I have no idea why it's in here, but it is. 6, 8, 10. So, the traditional way is you need 10d6 primary stats that make up Tidebreaker split into 3 pairs. High endurance, daily focus, wins intuition. So, tally up the total number of successes rolled. How many points you have to spend on the first pair of stats. So, first things first. So, roll here. And let's say, for example, on our first set of stats, we've got a 5, 5, 6, 5, 4. So we've got 5 points to spend among our first stat. So we can assign 3, 2, we can assign 2, 2, 3, we can assign 1, 4, or any variation of such. Cool. If you ever roll 1 or not, don't worry, take 5 and sweep that 1 under the rug and forget it ever happened. Now, cool. You're going to do that 3 times for all of your stats. Alternatively, just fucking use this. Chippy is exceptional. As you kind of see here, Chippy is exceptional. As you kind of see here, he's mostly focused on his physical, but he's got some decent, kind of movement, and he's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he doesn't need to be smart in the tool in the shed because he's a brick shit house. But they do want you to roll for some reason. I find that to be really like a weird addition to the game. But generally speaking, I'm going to recommend you stick to exceptional or legendary. Anything lower, it's like, yeah, you get 2-2 or a 1-3, which is really low. And having a low stat in anything is like, oh, you suck. Then don't forget our various secondary stats. Your power level is always going to start at 2. You're going to add power level to seemingly everything, but also nothing at all. Save for momentum and attrition. Critical. If you ever hit more than your critical value, you're down 2 steps. Yeah, so if someone rolls 10 or more successes on me, Chippy's going to go down 2 levels of health, which is there are very few levels of health, in fact. Recovery. If your recovery check beats this total, they scored a reversal on you. Rough, right? Well, make sure you double tap, champ. Recovery that's actually written incorrectly. Technically, it should look like this. It should be written like 07. Because what's going to happen is anytime you take damage, you're going to now then need to make a recovery check to try to get back up. Because attrition is going to influence that. But it's written stupid. Anytime you're hit, all successes rolled by your opponent are added to this pool. The rating of the attrition is added to the DR of any future recovery attempts you make. Because for some reason, he decided to make this the most complicated fucking system imaginable because I don't know, maybe he's insane. Maybe he's stupid. I don't fucking know. Missing attacks or triggering specific quirks or abilities will give points equal to your wits. Triggering the showstopper outside of combat generates momentum, equal to the stat used in the roll. Tiebreaker carries a maximum momentum of 10. They do not. All generated momentum resets to 0 at the end of every scene. You want to use momentum for everything. But it's also governed by your wit score. Why? I don't know. Fuck you. Dumb people don't deserve happiness. Jobs and specialties. Jobs is one of those things where at first I was like, oh, I choose a job and I get things. That's incorrect, everyone. Sorry, everyone. What this actually is that you choose an ability. You kind of choose your main thing, and then you get a number of you get 3 skills effectively tied to whatever your intuition is. So because Chippy is a food critic, he gets food tasting, food preparation, and self-defense in Kung Pao fried style. That is his specialty. Anytime your specialty comes up, that's completely different. Aspect of characters you excel at, this should be very specific acts for chosen field. For example, may have Brain Surgeon, allows you to add your power level to rolls related to that aspect of your job. Yeah. You can re-roll for anything you are not trained in, regardless of what it is, but will risk botch on the check-in turn. This is a completely weird mechanic because they said, hey, you guys are too competent to ever roll botches on things, except if you don't have this really tiny job specialty system. So anytime I'm rolling food tasting, I'm rolling normal. Anytime food preparation, anytime I'm rolling self-defense, everything is normal. But because I have Kung Pao fried style, I add a +2 to whatever it is because of my ability. But you also get some basic ones like running, jumping, climbing, swimming, lifting, or driving common vehicles. And then there's a TLDR here. Then quirks. Quirks are stupid. I hate quirks. You want to know why I hate quirks? Because they lie to you about it. The basic ideas is that your quirk is effectively something that separates you from everyone else. You are special. You have a thing. Physical to the supernatural and everything in between. As long as it's not something directly involving shooting something out of the hands or crushing a bad guy in between your fingers, it's likely a quirk. Tiebreakers start with 3 quirks. Now, one of these quirks is going to be, a standout feature. Standout features aren't unique, like your quirks are not unique. They use them to define the rest of your faction. When does this come up? Never again. Don't think about it. Fuck you. Your standout feature is something very special to you. Now, you can choose a regular quirk as a standout feature, but it'll be unique to you. But generally agree on it, you want to get the special standout features. Oh, we're serious about that Rule 0 thing, y'all. He's from fucking Connecticut, by the way. Fucking Connecticut. Don't you think you're not Southern, my man. You're not from fucking Annabelle. So, generally speaking, these are the quirks, though. Quirks are very defined. Because initially I'm thinking like, oh. Now, initially I was thinking, hey, I choose some quirks, I get a bonus for it. Cool, because I'm an exotic European, I get these. Because I'm the user of a Kung Pao fried style, cool. Get a bunch of abilities, get a bunch of things about it. That's incorrect. Fun fact, completely incorrect. I should be ashamed of thinking of such a thing. Now, because Chippy is a toad man, his quirk is that he's got a toad man, he's mistaken for French, but he is cautious. So we scroll down to, right here. You may add your focus to your recovery checks and may re-roll once whenever you fail a subterfuge-related check. Every quirk, and mind you, there's quite a few fucking quirks, are actually very mechanical in nature. All of these do influence your character. So you get things such as, where was some of the other one? High strung. Let's find high strung. Okay. Your initiative rolls ignite. Whenever you push your dice during an argument with someone less than friendly to you, you succeed on a 3-up. Hey, anytime I'm rolling initiative, I technically have ignite on. So I roll and, hey, I rolled a 6, so I get to re-roll that 1 into being something more useful. I'd be able to score more successes on it. But almost all of these do have different things when it comes to being in or out of combat. Yeah, without meeting the prerequisites like, oh, you're inquisitive. This is one of those weird aspects because hope expenditures really get integrated into the abilities quite a bit. You kind of even see, heart. You gain momentum equal to your intuition or focus, which once chosen cannot be changed when you're taken down. When you speak out of something you believe in, minor interest or greater, you may push your dice once for free. So, yeah, I can go from a 4 to a 5. I can go from a 3 to a 4. I can push my dice all of a sudden. I don't have to spend hope on it, obviously. I can just do it. As a former and long-time Connecticut resident, I can confirm many people talk like that. That's agony. Anytime I hear y'all, I'm thinking like deep fucking south. I'm thinking Louisiana. My mother speaks like that sometimes, but she's a Californian from fucking, she's a Mississippi Californian. I love her to death. I really never hear anyone speak y'all without them prefacing, oh yeah, I'm from like fucking Texas or something. I've never been to Connecticut. Connecticut is one of those states that I'm like, I have no interest in visiting. Because it's one of those just odd states. Like, oh boy, it's Connecticut. What happens in Connecticut? Nothing happens in Connecticut. For the longest time, my friend didn't believe Connecticut was a real state. Admittedly, he also thought that New England was a state, but hey. Watching my friend literally lose his goddamn mind when we told him that New England is not a state. I've never seen a man look just dead on the inside when he learned that he is in fact New England is not a state. But yeah, you kind of see a lot of these. One hope to automatically acquire a function you've seen from any source is a new trick. This is very powerful, by the way. Pinpoint controls, precognition, prodigy, prominent. Now, then you get wounded gazelle, standout only. Now, these are your super abilities, effectively. So, let's say, for example, Chippy here has tireless. We'll do Avatar Atari. Avatar Atari. You may spend momentum equal to the combined power level of all named characters present to cause all present to rise up, reduce all pools to 0, and instantly move allied characters to you and move opponents 3 zones away. You have the ability to just mass res. Hey everyone, you're a badass normal. In a world of incredible heroics and monstrous villains, you are overwhelmingly average. You start with a power level of 0, in addition you work harder than more powerful, talented allies and opponents. When you push your dice pool, you are always treated as if you were defending your main goal. Yes, while defending your main goal, you are treated as having Ignite 3. These change the nature of your character a lot. Incredibly so. But it's like, wait a second. Like, these feel completely different. Like, they feel like very strange to me anyway. Like, and they do change the nature of things quite. When you're affected by any status effect, you choose to ignore it and take attrition equal to the source's power level plus your power level to apply the effect to them instead. And then you see things like this. You may be dead, locked away, or otherwise incapable of joining the party in the flesh, but your presence is always felt among your allies. Yeah, like, you're a ghost. You have gray splendor. Grizzled veteran. You start with botch 3 on all rolls. Defense related to advantage against your endurance. You can ignite 1 until the end of the scene. Each successive failure in the check counting you roll a man. When you succeed in this roll, you become immune to botching. In all instances of ignite, grant you bonus success to your actions in combat, and especially in the end of the scene. In addition, you may continue to gain instances of ignite, breaking the normal limit of the ignite 3 for purposes of granting bonus successes in this fashion. Values beyond ignite 3 have no effect beyond providing you additional bonus successes. There's just more, by the way. None of these are, like, small. Like, either. Like, some of these change things dramatically. And I just chose tireless. Because you gain momentum equal to your endurance every turn and increase your momentum cap by amount equal to your focus. Chippy gains 4 in momentum every single turn, and he has a maximum of 14 momentum. He's gonna get more momentum to do more shit. That's all he gets, because he's tireless. It's like, Jesus Christmas Christ almighty. It's like, no shit, nobody's really... It's one of those things like, no fucking shit. Nobody is, like, looking at this game being like, oh, wow, this sure seems like a lot of fun when you look at one fucking ability and it takes up half a page. It's like, oh, that doesn't seem that entertaining. Neat. Mm-hmm. Delicious. Delicious Kovefi. Why are you pinging me? But yes, now we get to ability generation. Oh boy, abilities. Abilities are the most important thing for your character. Now, initially, I didn't think that. Initially, I'm like, abilities are superpowers. They're the things that allow me to be cooler superpower stuff. Cool, so I gave us things like Fish Finger Fillet Strike, Deep Fried Defensive, and the Condiment Cannon. Cool. I was incredibly incorrect about this. Owie zowie, my bones. So, a weapon that with great accuracy, the way one character's shooting ability works may be different from another character. Unique expression of your character's approach expressed via functions. So, to create an ability, give it a name, describe how it works and all the things associated, and pick 2 functions. Now, what does this actually mean? So, we will use the Fish Finger Fillet Strike. Anytime during combat, I can choose to use the Fish Finger Fillet Strike. If I use the Fish Finger Fillet Strike, also here's all the various bonuses and problems, I'm going to be able to do something. Now, I'm going to use the Crash ability. I've chosen it as a function. I use it. Now, my attack adds my initiative rank, counts up, but if you only have one opponent, use your power level instead to your attack. So if I'm first in initiative, cool. I have a bunch of bonus dice. I have a bunch of bonuses. These extra dice are added retroactively. So cool. I get to do more damage. If you would hit due to the extra dice, then your opponent takes damage as normal. So I get pretty much some bonus dice. However, if they dodge, if they are successful at dodging my attack, causes the opponent to downshift. They go down 1 step in the initiative. The Crash may be picked twice. This is one of the very few abilities to do this. No one else really talks about it. If you do, on contact effect actually ignites. Your dodge effects inflicts both botch 1 in addition to the normal effect. But every single ability also has a social aspect to it. You pick a specific resource. Anyone that wishes to trade that resource must be DR equal to the stat of your choice plus power level. Now, that's just one aspect of the Fish Finger Fillet Strike. Now, I also selected Endurance. Elements, engulfing, erode, exhausting. So, on contact, my opponent's next attack may only deal damage on a critical hit. So I punch you in the face. Now, I've done damage to you. And, hey, I've done damage to you. You can only really hit me if you crit me, which you need to beat a 10. That's fine. I'm doing good. I am stronger than you. And I am the leader of the Kung Pao. I will become the Kung Pao master. However, if they dodge, the opponents must re-roll and botch their initiative the following turn. Because they've now botched their initiative, they're going to be rolling, oh man, I need to roll my check here real fast. Roll. Damn, I rolled a 1. I only scored 2 successes. I'm lower now on the initiative. But because I also have a social effect, the target gains botch 1 for each social roll they make during the rest of the session. Because I am exhausting. And there are many of these. There are an absurd fucking number of these little functions and abilities. Let's take, for example, the Deep Fried Defensive. I chose to have Armor and Defiant. Because that's my defensive ability, Armor. You may downshift. I lower my initiative by 1 step and end your turn. To add your power level and end your turn to add your power level to my endurance and trigger your attack on your new initiative instead. If you successfully block an attack before finishing your action, gain Ignite 1. This armor does not stack with itself. Once triggered, armor and all associated functions trigger on your new initiative the first time. Yes, that means you're essentially locked in once you take an armored swing. Because you can combine any function with anything else. So, for example, hey, I'm doing armor, and I'm also choosing exhausting. That's an attack I'm doing. I am downshifting myself, I'm getting a bunch of bonuses, and I'm also just kicking your ass. I am punching you in the face. I'm locking in my swing against you to get a bunch of bonuses and kerunk, hit you in the face. You can also trigger that with movement. You can also trigger that with bonus abilities. I didn't want to do that. Of course not. That's not Chippy. Chippy is defiant as well. So we go down to defiant. Add the number of enemies in your current zone bonus to your DR, to your pretty much the thing they actually need to hit. If you are cornered this turn, you may use this as an interrupt without paying the cost. So if I'm at the dead end of the initiative, cool, I can actually just armor up and just get cornered and just do more things with it. Chippy is a literal one-man tank. If he's in a group of people who are going to want to violate him, he's effectively going to become a one-man tank. And again, I admire the, I don't want to word this properly. I admire the thing of having all of these different abilities that all work together, that all do their thing. It's just that every single one of them is incredibly bulky, and all of them do something slightly different. Because utility abilities also may augment different things. Hey everyone, here's just the aura ability. This is just one ability. Here's the one banish ability. Here's a command ability. Here's coordinating. Hey, you're diving. You can use the defensive DR gained by cover to use them as special bonus to your attack. You can disenchant things. You can echo things. It's trying to do everything, but it just adds in more shit. Easy enough to understand. It's because you gotta remember DR is like fucking term for DR. Because it gets a little bit wonky because they don't really have an appendix. Appendix, good. They like to hide shit all over. So all the way up here, yes. Welcome to the glossary by chapter. Dice pool, task check. Yeah, difficulty rating. Number of successes that must exceed, the number that must be met or exceeded to succeed at a task check. You can just jack your, DR up to an insanely high amount and just never be hit. And you could just never be damaged or hit or attacked or anything like that because you have a DR of like 12. And what are they going to do? Hit you with their abilities? Like, no, I have a DR of 12. I'm an impossible to hit. Like, by default, like, Chippy, if he uses his armor attack, he has a DR of minimum, effectively minimum of about 7. He has about a DR of about 7 or 8. By virtue of just being him. And it's just going to get higher. And they need to now beat 7 or 8 successes to even land a hit against it. And there's just fucking more. And there's more, and there's more, and there's more. But hey, have no fear, everyone. Get ready for tricks. Have you mentioned that nowhere is known? It said this played with nowhere to be known. It says this is played with a grid. It's not played with a grid. Here's the thing: grid combat is optional. Grid combat is completely optional and mentioned on one page, in which you play on a 6x6 grid. It is zone combat by default, and the grid system is literally 6x6, and he added it in there in case you wanted to have it if you felt like it. Now, this is like one of those things, you say, oh, DR is 3 always by Raw. It's not, because Chippy has a DR of 7 currently. Because he has all of those bonuses. Because if he uses his armor ability, he has a DR of 7. And he gets to increase his DR even more by adding Defiant, because he gets more. So technically, if he's in a group of 3 people, he gets to add an additional 7 to his DR. He has a DR of 10 effectively. There's nothing you can do against him. There is legitimately nothing you can do against him if he is that high, unless you roll an absurd number of dice. things get a little bit more funky wonky, because you do get things like overheat. Your target takes attrition equals the amount of charges you have stored. Charges are like things. Charges, if you maintain something for too long, you get more stuff. Technically, that's incorrect. I shouldn't have chosen that, because that's just not very good, because they don't explain charge except once, but charge is how long you choose to keep something. Yeah, it's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. I think that's really neat. I'm not literally losing my fucking mind doing this. But yeah, you can just shoot people if you want, you know. Technically, if I want to be real specific, I should do range instead of charge. So I can do this. You attack from one zone away from your target. Additionally, choose one of the following. My momentum increase the number of zones away your target. So I can just shoot people now with my gun. Cool. I have this gun I can use that I can just shoot you and make an attack. But they're also very different. Everything's a little different. And this changes things. Because then we get tricks. Okay, let's talk about tricks real fast. So, tricks may seem a little bit not as important. So, you pick up functions, you made some ability, you put a guy through a wall with your sonic cannonball launcher, and you're thinking, what's next? Totally. Just remember, set the alcohol and fire afterwards. We're busy with... We're going for max style points here. Tricks are how reward player for doing just that, making tricks work similar to creating other abilities. So, what does a trick actually do? Use an ability for a unique stunt, pick a function related to that stunt. For the gym, if they okay it, functions affect to your counterattack, your attack. Write a cool name for your new trick. So, for example, fish finger fillet strike. Hey, I'm doing my fish finger fillet strike, but I'm doing it by, but I'm also adding the binding attack. You may not benefit from effects that create interactables or instantaneous movement. Let me see if we can find a good one to add to this. Let's see. We want to add something. We want to add something exciting to this, obviously. Gotta be something fun and exciting, right? We want to... of course, paralyze. Let's say, for example, I make a stunt with Chippy's finger fillet strike. And I'm like, Chippy leaps through the air, and, you know, he pretty much uses it on your legs. Bang, 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 bang. He's punched your legs. You can't move. GM's like, that's amazing. You get a trick. And I'd be able to add the paralyze function to this. So what I would write is... leg breaker. I would add paralyze to it. That's a trick. If I do the fish finger leg breaker, that's my special trick. I can keep pulling that off to add the paralyze effect by trying to break your legs. You can do this repeatedly. This is the main way of leveling up, by the way. You may be wondering, Notepad, that sounds stupid. The answer is, yeah. So, you've created a trick. It's free. Use the following uses. Receive botch 1. Oh no, you may ignore this application by spending 5 momentum concentrating on your action. Tricks are essentially extensions of your core abilities that you haven't gotten down perfectly yet, but they take considerable amount of effort for you to do so. So, that said, when you do use them, they're always added to your core ability. So, name a trick penetrating momentum 5. We're getting a trick. Oh no, you can only have a certain number of tricks. If you have 4 tricks, if you try to do a 5th one, you lose 1. Effectively, this is the main way to level up. Anytime you learn tricks, you're developing your abilities more. The more of the things you do, the better. Chippy needs to spend 5 momentum to fish finger leg breaker someone for free. Not only is he going to add his initiative to the hit, not only is he going to exhaust you, he's now going to paralyze you. He's running up there, breaks your legs using his amazing fisticuffs, and that's that. But if you want to invest in other abilities, it might be more difficult, you might have problems, you now have botching on things are going wrong, oh no, everything is bad, wrong, and it's your fucking fault. Then we have also just randomizers. You want randomizers? That's it. Just personal themes. Themes don't really matter. That's welcome to a majority of the game. Making like those powers are a vast majority of how the actual play the game. Now I'm just going to read this out for you verbatim because I find it funny. Where do you go when you're already a badass? Who are we kidding? We know you know the answer to this because you've watched every action movie, read all the superhero comics, and saw the spiky hair anime protagonist do exactly what this chapter is about. Go further and beyond. These amps go up to 11, baby. Okay, this is supposed to be a reference text, so yeah, it's character progression time. Cue the music. Wait, we don't have music. This is a text document. Just imagine the hypest fighting music from your favorite media and insert that here, and we'll get to the rules. Promise. I'm going to hurt someone. I hate the way this is written. Like, generally speaking, if you just cut it out like right here, like these amp go up to 11, baby. Like that would be fine. But you had to add more because we're doing stupid fucking Marvel quip humor. Because Marvel movies are the only movie that ever existed, and we have to enjoy stupid fucking quips. I hate quips. So, there are 4 ways to actually progress. All of them are stupid. All 4 variants require you to gain 4 keys for fulfilling requirements on your table's chosen progression style. So, these keys allow you to increase your abilities. Sort of. Now, when you earn your 4th key, the character will gain an unlock point. Cool. Anytime you get an unlock point, you can spend to gain an upgrade, which are cool things for your abilities. Each of your abilities has 4 unlock points to access. Once you give your final unlock point, you may no longer gain keys for that ability. So, what this means is, say for example, let's say for example, I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, I have an unlock point. I can spend 1 unlock point on that. Okay, we can get rid of our keys now. Later on in the story, boom, 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 goes up to 2. Later, it goes up to 3, goes up to 4. After 4, that's it. That ability is effectively mastered. We've done it. You got 4 of these. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, that sounds a little bit weird. Why is it that way? Like, why don't we get like anything like that? Because of these unlock points, you see these little unlock points here? Those are actually the way that you're going to be increasing all of your other base abilities or anything else. So, what's the standard progression? You do a trick, you get a key. Get 4 keys, get an upgrade. That's why I say tricks are the most fundamentally important thing in the world, because that's how you level up, is you do tricks. You do things, you do stunts to get tricks to get keys. That pretty much means a more vocal player will be a more powerful. I'm not usually the fan of these kind of things, because I do know people who aren't vocal. I do know people who aren't going to like shout at the top of their lungs. I do know fucking thespians that's all they do. So when you have learned your 4th trick and thus gain your 4th key, you can pick an unlock. Keys gain you the ability not used for unlock points on other ability tracks. They can be used for gain after your 4th unlock has been gained or lost, so switch it up. Keys you gain cannot be used for unlock points on other abilities. Any you gain after your 4th unlock have. Yeah. So pretty much, don't use your 1 consistent ability that's great, because if you keep using your 1 consistent ability that's great because it does something stupid, it's not gonna be as efficient. Looter Shooter though is different. Beating up monsters, taking their stuff. Whenever you make a trick in combat, you may spend 5 momentum or gain 1 botch to apply a function of your choice to your action. Do not mark the trick on your character sheet. Instead, you'll gain new functions permanently when you find them in the form of new weapons, spells, scrolls, GM spreads across the game world. Functions attached to items may be used without cost and count as tricks for purpose of upgrades that references tricks. This is a completely different fucking mechanic that comes out of nowhere. Ignore this version. Mastery. During character, do not assign any functions to your starting abilities. This changes fucking everything. Why are you doing this? Why is this here? Pretty much, instead, you assign a single function per ability to serve as a foundation trick. Each foundation trick may use again a key. You may gain a key whenever you fight the named opponent with a power level equal to or higher than your own for the first time each session. This is a completely different way of doing things. Cool. Let's just ignore that one. Beat progress solely on the story your table tells at the end of every session. What do your players keep for every yes answer? Did you overcome an obstacle? Did your character help overcome a challenge or solve an issue? Did you do something to solve another player's problem? All of these things. No, but answering no does not bar from progress in any way. Once they are able to answer yes to any of the questions, they are awarded them with a key. Generally speaking, these are two completely different games from what you've just talked to us about. You do standard progression or you do beat progression. Those are your two options. At least they're trying to have fun. I understand they're trying to have fun with it. Like, that's the thing. I get they're trying to have fun with it. It's the thing with the progression system that's weird is that it is effectively four completely different methods of doing things, with two of them feeling like they gel well with what's already been established, and two that are completely different. You progress when you can answer yes to these questions. Also, if you say no to all of these questions, you can still progress. Answering no doesn't bar a player's progress in any way. Once they're able to answer yes to any of the questions, yeah, that's the idea. It's less like, if you answer no to all of them, you just don't get a key. But if you answered yes, you get a key finally. But you need you need 4 yeses to get an ability point. It's weird. Like, okay. Cool. Like, you get standard progression stuff like that. Like, standard progression works for what it's trying to put down. It's a little weird, but I get it. And it really places the emphasis on these tricks. And it encourages you to at least use different abilities, but you really are only going to have 3 abilities in a time. But the weird part about this entire thing, like, also you can just do training montages. Use to get cool. Like, don't think about that too much. So the thing is, 4 keys, you get an upgrade point. You know, these upgrades can also be quite a few different things. So let's take, for example, refocus. You can decide a certain trick isn't working out for you. You can roll a cliffhanger to practice a new technique. Success transfers over the mastery gain to far the newest trick you've learned. Erase the old trick and replace it with a trick of your choice. Refocus does not require the use of an unlock point to be selected. Instead, you may pick refocus for the cost of 1 key. Keys removed from your character sheet, even though this is in the unlock section. Because fuck you. It's I don't know why it's laid out this way. It's very strange the way this game is laid out sometimes. But like, so let's say you practice this technique religiously. You become immune to botching it. Whenever you are allowed to re-roll, you may re-roll successes while keeping the highest result rolled per die. Re-rolled failures that become successes are treated as normal, and re-rolled successes that succeed again explode. You would add explode decision to this game, though the dice have already exploded, are exempt. Keep the highest result whenever you are allowed to re-roll. So technically, if you do flawless execution on a combat check, you can just roll an insane number of successes if you want. Limit breaker. Numerical variables change the scale with power level on the chosen function. If you have other bonuses to ability, then they apply after limit break. Intensify. Creature of habit. You get a few of these, but like, probably the one people are going to use the most option are install. You can choose to take one of the tricks that you know and make it a part of your core ability. Erase the trick from your character sheet and add its function to the associated ability. Install may be picked twice per ability. If I choose, if I get my 4 keys on Chippy, like, cool, I've picked up my 4 keys, I choose to install it, I can just put paralyze here now. It's no longer a trick. I just get paralyze on it. It's like, oh, cool, alright. It's like unstoppable, eternal, you're boundless, you get a bunch of bonuses, a bunch of things. However, every 2 unlock points you reach, you have the option to forgo an unlock to improve one of your base stats instead. So if you have 2 unlock points available, you can actually spend an unlock. And it's like, pretty much if you gain 2 unlocks, the 3rd unlock, you can get rid of it. You can say no and get an improved ability by 1. Choose this. This may not be used to increase any ability but 5. The ability marked with an X may not be used to improve your base stat again. So Tippy, if he gets the multiple unlocks, he can say, hey, I want to increase my wits to 3. He can't improve his wits anymore. I want to increase my might to 4. I can't improve my might anymore. I want to increase my endurance to 5. I can't improve my endurance anymore. Give me more power. Once you've completed all the unlocks for a single ability, your power level goes up by 1. So your power level is added to almost every roll. So you do 4 unlocks, 16 keys. Let's say I do 16 keys on my fish finger fillet strike. That's 16 to the different things. My power increases by. That's how that works. It shows a lack of commitment on the part of the creators. Not necessarily that. I think how do I want to word? I think this was a kind of project that someone sat around a table with a couple of his buddies and being like, man, wouldn't this be cool? Yeah, wouldn't this be cool? Yeah, wouldn't this be cool? Yeah, wouldn't this be cool? And they just added everything to the document. And it was like, well, we need to do something else here. The core idea of the more tricks you, like, again, the core concept, the more tricks you pull off, the more stunts you effectively pull off, the better your ability gets. Cool. Like, the more times I use my ability, the better I'm going to get at it. But, like, here's this entire loot system because you want to play a fantasy game all of a sudden for some reason. And now it's this entirely different system that you have to fundamentally rethink how you make abilities. After 30 pages of ability notes, you say, oh, sorry, we're not using that system. We're not using that method anymore. It's, hey, we're doing it, but we're using mastery system, so ignore literally the last 30 pages and do something else. Like, at least with, like, the answer, like, yes, no, then, like, at least that's, like, you're going to consistently get something. The GM's going to go out of his way to be like, did you complete these goals? Like, yes, we got, and it's just a key. That's 4 sessions possibly, or that's 3-4 sessions possibly of, did you get a key? Yes. It's unlocked. It's going to be a lot longer for anything. But if you say are using your abilities really actively and you have someone shouting that they're going to do a stunt on every single trick, you might get an unlock point every session, which is going to be either really small or really short. Technically, there's a completely different thing for star power. You do have the fun fact. You do have the ability to, what I can really best describe as prestige. You reach power level 5 naturally. You may reset one of your abilities, losing all associated functions, tricks, and unlocks associated with this ability. If you do, you gain an additional +1 power level, which starts you at star 1 power level 0. You may use this ability to gain additional power level. Once you do, mark the ability and choose another to reset and gain another power level. Yeah, you can literally prestige. Like, I don't know why they have literally prestiging in it, because you only are going to get these 3 fucking abilities. And it's like, why? That's so strange. You think you would get more abilities? No. And now we get to combat. Mind you, all of that was leading to combat. And I'm going to do my best to explain combat in the best way possible. Initiative. It's agility plus advantages that you ended up. Agility is great, as always. Now, this leads to shifts. If you upshift a character, they go up a bit. They go up 1. Up 1 agility. They go up 1 initiative. You downshift. They go down 1 set of initiative. Alright, easy enough to understand. However, if you're shifted up or down past the first or last slot of the initiative order, you become overextended. To act in the round and are upshifted, you may not block and are treated as if you chose to dodge. You're cornered if you're the last character to act in the round and are downshifted, you may not dodge, and so you must choose to block instead. There is a moment where you want to effectively fuck with people's initiative to force them to do what you want. if you roll really, really high, you roll your initiative super high, you might end up becoming overextended when you upshift. If you upshift to be the first one, you cannot block anymore. You have to dodge. If you are cornered, you cannot dodge and you must block instead. Now, if there's ever a moment, say you downshift and you're still the first one up there, you're not overextended. You can still block or dodge. If you're not cornered either. Like you're that. Chippy is in a unique situation because he has a lot of things that allow him to roll really high on his initiative, but he also has the ability to downshift himself, where he's never really going to be in a bad situation unless he deliberately is, unless he rolls insanely well on his initiative, but at that point he's not, because he's already downshifted. The likelihood of these occurring may happen or may not. It's a little bit funky, because if you're the first character to act in the round and are upshifted, you can't block. If you're the last character to act around and are downshifted, you may not dodge. Why are these not? Don't think about it. Now, if you are tied, due to the nature of an initiative roll, every so often you'll come up with tie results from multiple characters. So ties, total overall speed advantages. Still tied, heroes first. Still tied, choose order between play. Can't decide villain goes first because y'all spent too long bickering. So meta! Wow, I'm a quirky zoomer. Zoomers belong on the cross. Yeah, it's like climbing up scaffold, shooting a rifle, ducking behind a cover, or cobbling makeshift IED while under fire are all actions. Pretty much, you get an action, you get a move. That's all you get. Everything is based around zones. You like zones, I like zones, we all love zones. So, technically, there's also this. Normally, fights that do not track distances strictly, thus do not have a need for tracking the amount of zones an area covers. Contains. Occasionally, combat needs to go a bit further to highlight distance traveled, usually when vehicles, teleportation, or kaiju get involved. Battlefield to judge. In these cases, you can use a battlefield to judge distances. Battlefields are played on a 6x6 grid with each space representing a zone. You do not need to make each zone unique, and you may opt to making some zones a continuation of adjacent zones. Grove 2 or North Lake, South Lake, or are feature spaces that take on general aesthetics and characteristics of the surrounding area. Moving from one battlefield to an adjacent one does not differ between normal movement and does not affect distance calculation for purposes of range attack. For some unholy fucking reason, he adds an entire section on battlefield. What does this mean, generally speaking? I will actually bring up a fucking paint.net document. That's the only way to really explain it. Let's see. Nope, not you. You. Nope, that's not it. So, here is, we're going to make a map. We're going to do render. I need to make a grid map. Let's fix. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this is our 6x6 grid. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is our 6x6 grid. Now, what can happen is, let's say, for example, we have lake here. The lake is here. This would be normally considered a feature. This would be normally itself a zone. But it's not a zone. It's no longer a zone now. It's now 4 zones that we can freshly move between. Let's say, for example, we've got everything here is greenery. How about that? Everything here is greenery. Not really specific, it just is. What's up here? This is the road. This is the road. This is more greenery. How about this? Go down here, bump, 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 bump. Then we go like this, and then we go bump. Cool. This is the battle map, everyone. Do you like my battle map? Do you like my my map for battles? Now, this is, every one of these would be considered a zone. This, if let's say for example, hey, we're driving along the road real fast and we have a new zone. What we're gonna do is we would literally just start up a new zone and then add in its own features. These would just be adjacent to one another. Does that sound a little bit weird and confusing and can change the nature of how fights work out? Yes. Did he add a grid combat to a zone system? Yes, he did, because fuck you. Because reasons. Now, interactables are objects in the field that operate something. Barriers stop you. Of course, we have 9 million rules for barriers. So, anytime you try to cross a barrier, there's a transition DR. It could be like, hey, dude, get past this. You need to make a check to bypass it. Cool. If you don't bypass it, you spend an action to make a check to pass it. One day, like, hey, there's a wall here, and we need to jump over the wall. Hey, there is this here. We need to get that. Easy enough to understand. A gap is the same matter, but there's a little bit different. Gaps can be wide fissures. There's pretty much, it's a division between two things. We need to maybe jump over it. We need to get things. If we ever are pushed into the gap, that's bad. We have to now deal with it. Something wrong going on. We fail to climb a wall. We just fail to climb the wall. We fail to climb a gap, cross a gap. We fall into the gap, and that's bad, and we fall apart. Hazards are bad things. Oh no, anyone tries to enter, you have to make a check to avoid getting hurt by it. And you don't have a lot of health, of course, so it's like, oh no. Oh no, there's a minefield. You've stepped on the minefield and it explodes. Oh no, there's a oil slick. Oh no, oh no, the room's on fire. We have to, what are we doing? The final one are weapons and cover. Anytime you get into cover, you're getting a bonus to survive things. If there is a weapon, for example, there, you can roll your wits plus your power level, because wits is the best skill in the game, against the target's intuition. If you succeed, you grab the weapon or enter the cover. And are made any successes that exceeds target's DR. Add any successes to your defense as a stunt bonus or as attrition to your target while attacking, causing damage as normal if lethal is applied to the interactable. Now, for example, let's say, for example, there's an MG setup. If there's an MG setup, I can rush over to that and pick up the MG and go rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat. But let's say there's some sandbags. I don't just enter the cover. Oh, no, no, no. What we need to do is we need to literally be intelligent to roll and get into cover. Because reasons. I have no idea why this is the case. Technically, this check right here, this scene right here, you would need to make a wits check to actually get into cover against somebody else. This person did not make a wits check and got shot in a very weird perspective. This person made his wits check. Easy. Now, of course, they aren't they aren't really telling the truth. There might be obvious opportunities, there might be seeking opportunities, there might be conditions on there, but at the very end of the day, very end of the end of Brovangelion, to attack your opponent, you describe what I want to do. Your opponent will then choose to dodge or block. If they block, they roll might plus advantages against their endurance. So if they try to block Chippy's going to be a lot easier. However, if they try to dodge, you gotta roll your agility instead. So, technically, Chippy is in a really bad position because he's pretty strong, but he's not very agile. If he does hit somebody, he's going to be rolling about 5d6, but if he's rolling only his agility, he's only going to be rolling 4d6. You need to get a better advantage. You need to get into a better situation. Of course, you can always just use your abilities, or melee attacks can be done in the same zone. Most range attacks target anyone with line of sight from 1 or more zones. Alternatively, you could do no action and just fucking book it by dashing. You're spending an action to move another space. And then you also get momentum. Okay, so momentum does a lot. Is rewarded to an attacker whenever they miss an attack equal to the attacker's wits. So Chippy's only going to be getting 2 momentum roughly for every attack he does, but he can use momentum to do other things. So, an attack that forces your opponent to use the defensive stat of your own preferred attack into your own preferred attack stat. So, if I know they're very slow, I can say, hey, you're going to have to use agility against my might. And then punch you in the face. Now, you spend momentum equal to the opponent's intuition and roll your attack against the defense stat of your choice using the attack of your choice. You would gain more than your momentum. You may spend excess immediately. The excess momentum that is not spent is lost at the end of your turn. Gained from the sources that are not other than the hope effect bursts are not gained until the end of the round unless explicitly stated. Luckily for Chippy, he gets 4 momentum every round for free. And guess what? If you are literally only have an intuition of 2 or 3 or less effectively, Chippy can always punch you in the face using his best stat. He could always say, I have might 3, you have an agility of 1, beat my successes because I'm going to be rolling like 66 and you're going to be rolling 1. And then he punches you in the face and everyone laughs. Now we have the health and damage system. Okay. Please drop this later and you know what place could not find this due to the bad name. Yeah, I was lucky Wuso actually delivered it to me. Wuso bought me a copy, everybody. Yes, thank you very much, Wuso. Yes, he bought me a copy. Wuso, yes, everyone say thank you, Wuso, because Wuso bought me a copy. Completely. That's how it works. Because Wuso bought me a copy. Right, everyone? Right, everyone? We got an ad. Yes. Generally speaking, Tidebreaker is... I've seen nothing on Tidebreaker. I have seen no one talk about Tidebreaker. Oh, of course we got a manly co-host. Everyone say hello to Whale Manly again. Because we are we are little more than bones in the ocean, so I thought Whale Manly was the most appropriate one for this case. But I find it incredibly bizarre. Oh, but generally speaking, I find, like, I have no idea how to find this game. Because he's not put it on, like, TTRPG, it's not on itch.io, it's on nothing. And at first I was thinking, oh, well, maybe he hasn't put it up in a good place. Maybe he just isn't super done with it yet, but people have received their books 8 months ago. 8 months ago, this has been in people's hands. And it's not like he isn't selling the PDF on his website, so I'm like... Is it because he doesn't trust DTRPG? Is it because he doesn't like itch? Does it have a different name on DTRPG? Which is a very valid issue. There is a non-zero chance that it is on DTRPG, but it's not him. And I looked everything else up, and it's not like Smunchy or anything. That's not it. I don't know. Because the only thing, if you look up Tidebreaker RPG, it'll pop up. Rest assured, it'll pop up, but then you're going to get like a 5e supplement. A fairly popular 5e supplement for like Mariner Paladin. And it's like for all of that shilling and all that ads, like the most important thing you can do is get it out there for people to see, if anything. Like, no one's going to buy your game if it's just on your website. I don't think people quite understand that sometimes, where it's like, it's hard to buy things that are on, like, just on a website or something. Because it's like, yeah, suddenly you can't see it. And if you can't see it, you can't really know about it. Now, health and damage is very fucking weird, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. Effectively, there are 4 states of being. You have 4 hit points. Anytime you take damage, you actually go down hit point. You just lose one of your wounds, effectively. But things are a little bit odd. So, up. If you are rising up, you're good. This is your default state. You may act normally. Anytime you get hit by an attack that meets their defense DR, will switch to full defense mode as they are placed in a trying situation. Will do everything they can to escape. Downed characters, however, are not prone or helpless, explicitly stated by the attacker's ability. Instead, they may move normally and use any abilities at their disposal to instead rise up. However, while down, your opponent may ignore any damage you deal to them. Until the character successfully recovers, they remain down. Characters that suffer a critical hit while taken down begin to die, and they can take no actions until they recover. So, effectively, if you are not up, you are down or dying. I say there's 4 because technically there is... The 4 states of being are you're up, you're down, you're taken out, and you're dying. Or dead, technically. Like, and anytime you get something like, oh, if they beat your critical threshold, you go down 2 steps. So if you're up, you suddenly go to taken out. But if you are down, you go to dying. And if you are already taken down, you get crit, you're just dead. Like, you're just dead on the fucking spot. You are DEAA dead. Now, this is where things get to attrition, which, cool idea, terrible fucking execution. No fight can last forever. Now, in Tidebreaker, anytime you get hit, any successes are in fact going to your attrition. The character takes damage in battle through several nasty effects. It's represented by 2 numbers. This is why I say, it's 2 numbers. The left is any successes gained toward recovery, and the right is your current attrition. Now, what this means is you need to beat the current attrition to recover successfully. Any additional attrition is added to your current total remains until Q. So, what this actually means is, say for example, I've got my attrition. Let's say I am at 3 attrition. What I really need to do is roll 3 successes to vent all my attrition and I'm up and running again. But let's say I have 10 attrition. Suddenly I need 10 successes. And that's going to be a lot more complicated for me to get. It's harder for me to get that much more attrition. So that many more successes because it's harder for me to get up. Any additional attrition is added to the current total. Now, current attrition is added to the DR of any recovery attempts and counterattacks you see. Beat the DR of your recovery check, clear all your attrition, and immediately rise up and act normally in the following turn. Fail to rise up, any successes you roll on a recovery check carry over to the next turn until you recover or begin to die. So, this is my recovery check, but this isn't really my recovery check. So let's say, for example, I have 3 attrition. I need to beat 10 to recover successfully. If I don't beat that 10, I'm not recovering successfully. This is very strange. I think it might even be easier if I fucking write it out. I know for a fact it's going to be easier if I write it out, just to give everyone kind of an idea of what this is. So, let's say, for example, I have attrition. We have a recovery. Go to Chippy. I have a recovery of 7. And I have attrition 10. Actually, let's have attrition 3. I pretty much, my DR to recover, to effectively clear all my attrition and get back up, is 10. Well, let's say I take some more damage, but I just increased my attrition. It's now going to be 5. That's going to increase my DR to recover by another margin. Okay, let's say this is my current state. I roll 5 successes. I have 5 successes. That's obviously not 12. I'm still down, but I'm now 5 out of 12 successes needed. Next turn, I roll 7. I get my 12, vent all my attrition. This is fucking obtuse. I understand what he's going for. I understand what he wants. But what this is, in this current state of being that I am reading, is fucking insane. It is absolutely bonkers. Because the thing is, if your attrition is ever higher than your critical value, the hit is upgraded to a critical hit automatically. However, all successes gained through successful attacks and recovery actions are immediately banked for the purpose of clearing your attrition. Banked successes are marked on the left side by a slash for attrition. So if you're down, you're not actually down, you'll still be able to make actions, but you need to break that. But if you successfully break that, you get a bunch of more abilities. You reset your attrition to 0. I think the idea of attrition is that it's harder, like when you go down, it is a lot harder for you to recover, and it's a lot more complicated for you to deal with things. You are in a bad spot. It's going to take you longer to get back up into fighting condition. The thing is, attrition isn't permanent, and you can get rid of it a lot easier. But you're still doing actions to not necessarily just recover, because some of these recovery actions are you beating the shit out of the enemy while you are still down technically, or you're trying to do reversals, or you're trying to get recovery checks in other places. It's a long list of, like, it's a fucking flowchart that circles around itself. So any attack that lands before you take your next action, add any successes roll to your current attrition. Fail or otherwise you're denied your recovery check on your turn, you are shifted one state further down the health check as if you suffered a critical hit. You may not suffer more than one additional shift in this manner. If you've risen up from being taken out, the protection is removed and each hit you take shifts damage is normal. Now, what does this actually mean? This means that if you are down and out, I can keep fucking curb stomping you to make sure you don't get back up. Oh no, I'm injured, I can't do anything. Hippity hoppity, smash your skull onto the fucking pavement. I'm a little injured boy, stop hurting me. Smash in the pavement. Turning your skull into literal fragments. Now, then you get things like dire blows. Suffer enough attrition to exceed their critical value, hit enough to hit their critical value on its own, counting only the raw dice result single attack check, deals a third shift a day. Which you literally go to I'm alive to out, or you go from I'm like injured to fucking dying. Like, yeah, it's like you can immediately kill someone who's already down at that point, because being out is the third state of being. You can only move. You can move one action. For one action, you can move. You can't really do anything else. It is a lot harder for you to do anything. You know, pretty much it's like you don't really get to recover as easily. Taken out, rise up, and may act normally next turn. Currently out may not rise up by using the attack action or any ability quirk. Standout feature that deals damage or attrition. However, recover by using interactables, or taking a breather, or seeking safety found under recovery. It's a completely different set of ideas. Because, again, there's no consistent tone to this game at all. Even though it really wants to pretend that there is. Also, I like the fact they just used the same character 3 times here. I don't know about that. That really activated my almonds. If you are dying, you're fucking dead. It's pretty easy to die in this game. Unless they choose not to kill you. Make a new character. So, find taken out ally and possibly dying. It's important to quickly treat their wounds, or they'll have to roll a new character and everyone will have to wait, and that's just awful, right? Make a first aid check. If you succeed, they are not dying. You know, sort up to the upstate and continue on as normal, but it's just like, yeah. You need to try to keep them alive. It's a lot harder to do that. So, what if you want to defend yourself? You describe to increase your DR. Cool. Emergency defense. Spend 5 momentum, and you can use things as an interrupt. You're using things to do something else. You have advantages. You have abilities with interrupts. Interrupting an interrupt. Counterattacks, which are interrupts, but also can interrupt other interrupts, but also allow you to immediately punch someone else, which also leads to reversal attacks and recovery. When taken down by an opponent, you need to recover. On your next turn, you may try to distract your enemy with an attack action, rolling against your opponent's current defense DR, plus your current attrition, plus any of your opponent advantages. Otherwise speaking, if you have more than 2 or 3, fucking attrition, don't do that. But if you succeed, you get to ignore pretty much all of the like previous things about like you have to bank no, you can just ignore that, because would still succeed when compared to attacks as reversal defense or reversals and immediately deal damage to the attacker. Yeah, in addition, you rise up regardless of your current attrition, banking any successes until your attrition is cleared. Characters who are taken out cannot make reverse. Yeah, pretty much if you make an attack and you beat effectively their recovery roll, you're making a reversal. You're injuring them, they're not injuring you. You're trying to rise up, but you also still have your attrition because you didn't clear your attrition. Currently out may not attempt a reversal by any means. If you try to counterattack, you permit a reversal on anyone that triggers them, causing you to rise up as per normal reversal rule. This is a completely different series of mechanics that I have no idea why. Hey, you can try to seek cover, recovery. Doing so does not clear attrition, but you do rise up. Seek safety while taken out, you rise up as normal and remove your danger protection. But you don't clear your attrition, which is important. But if you take a breather, you may move away from your attack and cover to protect yourself, but attempt to make a reversal attack. Roll your critical value plus your intuition plus any recovery specific advantage against your current attrition. If you succeed, you rise up and you may act normally on your next turn, or you may bank successes from seeking safety check for the game purposes of gaining and clearing attrition gained. Yeah, you can roll your critical value because that makes sense. Yeah, you're rolling 10 now. I would effectively be rolling my intuition plus my critical value. So I would be rolling 13d6, attempting to remove all my attrition. Because it's an interlocking series of fucking disaster pieces. I don't quite know what the plan is here. Everything's laid out so fucking terribly. They paid someone to lay things out, by the way. They paid someone to do this. And whoever was paid to do this, you suck. Get a better career. I don't know, maybe become a clown in the circus. Maybe that'll be more suited for you. Because you are not a clown, you are the entire circus. Because they don't split things up very well. So you may spend your turn aiding a down an ally to actually get more things, but if you do this, they're adding things to your recovery roll. If you take a hit and your ally's place, the interchangeable fails to defend you. However, if your emergency defense fails, which is a completely different thing, by the way, which is all the way up here, your ally may add the result of your seek an opportunity check to their recovery check, which is a completely different thing. And I'm like, okay, let's get an example attack here. Come on, they gotta play this out. This is gonna be real easy. So he looks at his character sheet, 3d6, cool. Initiative of 2, cool. What's he gonna do? All right, let's look at my sheet. So he wants to punch someone, just punching someone. He's got 3 might, +2 to his power level, +1 from his boxing ability, +1 from his stunned, and +1 from a special weapon quirk. Effectively, he's going to kill a man using his knuckle dusters. He's going to roll 8d6, because you're always going to be adding your power level to things for some. So, cool. All right, looks like I got 6 successes. Beats his 2 endurance, but it doesn't beat his critical value, so he's still up and fighting. So he's down, but he's not hurt. He has hit, but he's not dead. And it's like, wow, that seems really simple, but what about everything else? Well, we have this. So, on your turn, momentum shift, extended actions, do any stunts, interactables. You're going to be seeking opportunities. You're going to be trying to overcome barriers. You're going to be trying to dash, do first aid. If you succeed, your ally survives and rises up. Cool. Guarding friends. You want to use hope. Use all the hope effects. Use an interrupt ability. Use emergency defense. Use a stunt defense. But if you're down and out, you can reversal attack. Roll attrition plus opponent's advantages. If successful, deal no damage and rise up. But this is also incorrect the way this is worded. That's not how it's worded at all. If attack hits reversal defense, deal damage and rise up. And again, if you just manage to beat them, you get to rise up, but you don't get to clear any of your abilities. Take a breather, rise up. Seek safety, roll all of these against attrition to rise up. Bank successes against attrition. Regular movements, cool. Special, cool. Power scaling damage, cool. You're doing more damage. Nito Burrito. Wow, look everybody, it's a wheelchair cowboy going bang bang against bad men. Yeah, then there's also power scaling and all that shit. I love this. It's great. Yeah, it's like technically if you ever hit a point where it's 6 or higher, it became the question of, can this hurt me? If the answer is yes, you should do it. If the answer is no, no. Don't even bother doing it. You know, it's like, most attacks become a rhetorical question. Can anything actually bother me at this point? For all but the greatest of threats, the answer is nope. When this happens, just ignore it and all effects related to the attack. Chippy can effectively ignore most things because he just has an insane amount of defensive ability if he armors up. He doesn't need to really worry about things like that. Now, of course, we got our safety tools. Have no fear. We got the X card in here. That's really it. All of this is like, hey, how do we do better stunts? How do we, use momentum? Like, how do I GM really well? How do I do some grand designs? How do I do things? What's the cataclysm? What's this? Here's all these abilities. Here's all these things I'm allowed to do. What is a mastermind? What are the boons? What's his powers? What's his abilities? What's pretty much the giant evil person's thing? And of course, they get their own gigantic series of things and problems and abilities they are allowed to use. Advice on making your BBEG, because Big Bad Evil Guy, because of course there are TV tropes. We cannot escape TV tropes. We think it was popularized by TV tropes, yay! Which is the author's favorite website. Man, I love TV tropes. It's the great. You can tell how much it's great because what's a BB? Well, Mastermind Thompson means Big Bad Evil Guy. We think it was popularized by TV trope, which is the author's favorite website. Seriously, they deserve writing credit or something. Cool. I love TV trope. Amazing. Stooges are like your minions. That's the thing with Stooges. Stooges are weak opponents that ganging up and sloppily. Like, the Stooges are meant to die. They go down very quickly. They get a very basic power level. Like, they aren't really rolling anything too exciting. They go down quickly. But they also use an entirely different set of mechanics to do everything. Because it's annoying. Cool, you get random reinforcements from them. Cool, advanced Stooges. Cool. Fernando is excited to run a game tiebreaker with their homies and wants to make sure they have a cool bar fight ready to go on game night. Jawcracker Sebi and give him an appropriate ability because he has to get involved. Patrons were likely intended to throw at their group. Looking at the quirk list, they pick tough, free hit at the beginning of combat. Taking a peek at the function, they mull over and deciding on demolish. Now these guys are seasoned bar fighters. They have a tendency of smashing up the place when they get riled up. Sebi knows this and is waiting with a sledgehammer in case too much of his stuff gets broken up. Then you gotta keep things from Fernando goes with default numbers of power level 2 is scale 1. Cool. Yep, this is how you write it. It's a completely different way of writing things. And then they get to throw more enemy at you, and hey, your elite enemies. Then we get the groove. Grooves are some standard with as many options as we could feasibly fit into one book, but we know the greater community likes to tinker with things. Sometimes this comes from simple house rules. Other times it's large scale hacks or overhauls. Now, we'd like to offer the following such as guides creating mini hacks for your own games, be it your personal tape of published products. Passion, like many of us and those who have worked on Tidebreaker are no different. We give some tips and examples. Welcome to Grooves. Now, Grooves are pretty much your ability. It's like the game giving you options to like hack shit. It's like, oh hey, you want to do some cool things? Here, put it as a groove. It's like, what are we doing? How are we altering things? Main challenge, making a groove, deciding what exactly you're trying to emulate in an existing system from another game. Alternate mechanics to change, how does it work? Dice and other direct methods, bot ignited explosions, sphere of influences, and they kind of give you a breakdown of the entire game. For example, Lead Breaker. Make fun, deadlier gunplay, and all be complex. Pew pew, attrition, range function, range attacks defined by attacks with range more than auto crit if they hit. Attrition stays on your character until healed. Cover gains attrition and is destroyed when attrition exceeds DR. That's an entirely different set of mechanics that they were like, well, we don't know what you want to make, so you can make whatever you want. Make sure to slap on powered by Tidebreaker. Fierce, fear things. Oh no, fierce monster consequence fails to resist a jump scare. Spy breaker, climax mode, deal breaker, case breaker, strike breaker, caretaker. Cool, joy maker, vice break. Oh boy, cast breaker, base breaker. Suit and tie breaker. On everything has on con, on dodge. Ability already has on contact. Gain explode 1. Oh boy. Here's an entirely separate set of mechanics and ideas because this is a generic system that they wanted to create into the next indie darling. That's what they wanted. Vance Breaker. Cool, everyone. I sure do love adding D&D to this random game. Story Maker, Phoenix Breaker, Limit Breaker, Undead Breaker, Bond Maker. It just keeps going on. And we have a glossary full of just random shit. And these are all just patron characters, by the way. These are just all they are. Hence why they are, fun fact, this is why they're all white people. Half of them are just white people because that's what they wanted. It's great. Yeah, that's Tidebreaker. Do I like Tidebreaker? No, I don't. I don't think I will. Because Tidebreaker is a unique kind of game. Not necessarily a unique kind of bad. The Tidebreaker is unique in the way that it just isn't good. There are some fundamental core flaws in that game that I question why they exist. However, I know why they exist because it wasn't his game. I think it was Smunchy's game. And I think Smunchy wrote something, realized either it wasn't very good or he didn't know what to do with it, handed it off to somebody else that he was guaranteed knew it was going to be popular because he looked right. Am I implying that the only reason he was offered a Diana Jones award was because he worked for Smunchy and he was black? Yeah, I am. I'm making that brave fucking implication. Because generally speaking, he's worked on nothing else. He's worked on a little zine, and he's worked on another indie project that had 1% funding. That's what it is. And I'm not trying to be like racist here. I'm just being honest. Smunchy was using him as effectively, my theory anyway. Again, I don't know. He could see talent in him. He could have seen a bunch of things. I think Smunchy was using him effectively as a gigantic black man. He could say, hey, look at my black man, he wrote a thing. I think that's what Smunchy was doing. Because Smunchy's not stupid. Smunchy's a businessman, and everything Smunchy touches is not kind of mediocre. But he also got a Diana Jones award for a game that no one has ever looked at before. Who conveniently was written, or at least in part by, another guy entirely. But we don't know that. We don't know. But somehow, miraculously speaking, he got all of these indie developer darlings to help him out on things. Gabe Hicks, Jay Dragon, all of these people just so conveniently wanted to help for no reason at all, just from the kindness of their own heart. Tidebreaker isn't very good. Maybe I was just seeing an old version of it, though. That's entirely possible. Maybe I'm just seeing an old version of the game. I don't know. Because I'm not going to pay $30 for a game that I can't really see anything about. That every single review has come from people who are playtesters. Every single person that's been like, yeah, this is great, immediately follows by about 30 fucking posts by the main developer saying that you should totally play it, you should totally play it, please play it. I almost got a Diana Jones award. Please play it. Please, 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 please play my game. I'm like that's not, I'm not feeling encouraged. I'm not gonna like subject my players to playing a game that I don't think was made with the best intentions. But that is that. Welcome to the infinite grind. Now, there's a few things we could do. Eric wanted me to go over the Monty Python game, but I don't think we will go over the Monty Python game today. I'm going to wait for the full version to come out, which I don't believe will be that far. Let's just do, I guess we could do a quick once-over on Kickstarter. Even though probably nothing has changed in the meantime, but it can't hurt to do a quick once-over. We go here. Here. Some of the newest ones, not games. We want the tabletop games. Dice, STLs. Six Hat. Wow, cool. Dead Simple OSR homage, the world's first fantasy role-playing game. Wow, never heard of one of those before. Absolutely have never seen anything like this before. None at all. Wow. Holy shit. Bursting with innovation, everybody. You're bursting with innovation. What's next? Are we going to make a 20-sided die by chance? Oh, that'll be super fun. It'll be amazing. Let's see, 5e. Mordred. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see. Crossed Ultimate Real-Time Hockey Dice Game. Solo Survival Adventure. Cool. STLs. Tarot cards. Are tarot cards here? I don't fucking know. Fuck you. Horror movie RPG. Another horror movie. Not the first one I've seen. There's quite a few of them. Board game. Yeah. Dungeon crawler game. 5e. We love 5e. Everybody say the song. Everyone say it, everyone. We love 5e. We love 5e. See, my favorite time of going to Kickstarter is realizing that 5e is the only game that makes money. I love it. Legends of the Psionics. $25,000, everyone. I love it. Give them more money. We need more 5e money. More money. Never enough. Why are you here? Why is Lewd Fantasy Minis even here? Why? Tell me. Why are fantasy? Why? No one's going to use this on their table. You're going to print it out and come over it. It's going to be weird. I am A to Z affirmations with African American children. Cool. 5e. Crisis 1914. Cool. Fuel Your Hero. Let me guess. Is it going to be almost entirely based on 5e? That's the only game. Travel Con. Traveler Con. That's cool. Stainless steel steampunk dice. Yes. Steampunk. Gorblins. We love Gorblin. Oh boy, new Lancer supplement. Yay. Hello, Maria de Jesus. Love Maria. Everyone loves Maria de Jesus. She really is our favorite creature here. It is an abstract kind of hell. All of this. We can't escape. It's a never-ending cycle. Oh. Yeah, we've seen some of these already. Yeah, alright. So let's head to my favorite website. Mordred. What's Mordred all about? Oh boy. Cool, big board game. Like, come on. Like that. Got Mordred. Faction Mordred favors, gains the most +3 favor. Leader of deep influence, land where they go. Obtain favor from mighty Merlin, cutting Morgan, treacherous Mordred. Unlock special abilities. Bohem, monstrous beasts. Gather legendary knights. Cool. Like, we got Mordred, Morgana, Merlin, no Arthur. That's kind of weird that Arthur isn't present. Hobyars. Cool, we got Hobyars. We got dwarves. We've got knights. We've got monsters. Got more knights. It's gonna be like $800 million. Slash, cool, new RPG. Let's classic horror archetypes. Oh, trying to pick you off one by one. Horror movies, choice and consequence. 3-act structure, cool. 160 pages. All right, dice. It's a fate dice. Need to play. Oh no, they're unique dice. Oh no. Yeah, looks like they're unique dice. Maybe that's kind of weird. Bonus dice, penalty dice, small hindrances. Yeah, it looks like it's... Oh, they're jumping pallets because we're also playing Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight, the board game experience. Cool. Favorite horror movie, Cabin in the Woods. Favorite horror movie, Midsummer. Free print with Print Ninja. Oh boy, Print Ninja. I keep seeing you guys here. What's you, Print Ninja? This is a new US-based printing facility. Wow. Wonder what you were doing, Print Ninja. That's kind of neat. We like Print Ninja. Print Ninja Gaming. Cool. Cool. Let's see. It's new and popular on early access role-playing games. Mork Shork. Let's play Dress Up, an idle TTRPG fashion game. An idle TTRPG fashion. Boy, oh boy. Okay. I am fine. I am okay. I am in a good place. My mind, my mental harmonics are not compromised. If this is not, this is fully in Spanish, we know we are dealing with Kino right now. If the anime RPG is not in full Spanish, it's a shitty game. Rest assured. Oh, Mosaic Strict game. Yay! People still do Mosaic Strict. Woo! Woo! Yeah, I love Mosaic Strict. It's so amazing. I love just not giving a shit about literally anything. I love writing things that are based in the fucking void and mean nothing. Awesome, I love it. Woo! Forge in the Dark RPG. Woo! Idle TTRPG game. I can't even be mad. Can't even be sad. I'm just tired. Just tired, kings. You will like your idle TTRPG. You will like your idle fashion RPGs. Boy, oh boy. Let's see, what day is it? 15th, right? It is the 15th. Well, that's pretty much it. That's a 3-hour stream of me losing my my noblin. My goblin's been nobbled. I have completely lost my fucking mind. And I am in a good place. My mental harmonics have been compromised. I am losing my goddamn mind. And life's great. I have truly entered a nirvanic state of being. I'm miserable, but I'm happy. Godspeed. Good luck. I hope to see you all on the flip side. Next week we will continue on more SRD stuff. There may be a stream tomorrow. There may not be. I can't escape this hell.